Technical session 1. Technical session 1 will be conducted. Technical session 1. Technical session 1 will be conducted after the completion of technical session 2. The participants of technical session 1 will present. They will remain the presenters. Only our guest speaker has been changed. Even though themes are changed, the participant will remain the same. As we now move forward into the second session of our conference, we continue this important dialogue with a theme that reflects the human dimension of healthcare. Palliative care, a moral and human imperative. Palliative care reminds us that the right to health is not only about curing disease, but also about ensuring dignity, compassion, and quality of life, especially for patients facing serious or life-limiting illnesses in many ways. It represents the true spirit of human rights in healthcare. To formally introduce the theme of this session, I now invite Dr. S.D. Sirsat, Sir, Associate Professor Manikchand Pahade, Law College, to address the gathering.
Thank you, madam. Dear friends, after the brainstorming session, inaugural session, Honorable Vice Chancellor Bindu Ronald Madam, as well as Honorable Justice Pednekar Sir has given the good insights regarding the life and dignity. Being a law student, I really congratulate to the Avishkar Research Club and our Principal Madam, Oputapalli Madam, who have chosen a very correct topic which is related with everyone. For that, I want a round of applause. At the same time, we have, due to the some schedule, rechanging in schedule, Dr. Vaidya sir is with us, and he is going to guide on the palliative care. He is having a one Asta Foundation which is taking care of all age persons. So on behalf of MLNJ Society of MP Law College, I welcome you, sir, in this August gathering. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir, for introducing the theme and settling the tone for this technical session. To guide us through this significant subject, it is my honor to introduce our esteemed guest speaker, Dr. Narendra Vaidya sir. Dr. Narendra Vaidya sir is an experienced medical professional with an MBBS, a postgraduate diploma in geriatric medicine, and a global fellowship in palliative medicine. He has been a practicing family physician since 1975, dedicating decades to patient care and community health. He is actively associated with Asta Foundation, Chhatrapati Sambhaji Nagar, an organization committed to promoting joyful and dignified aging. The foundation runs Jeshta Ghar, Basant Prabha Visawa at Jalgaon near Shegra MIDC, which includes a geriatric palliative care unit supporting elderly patients with compassion and care. Dr. Vaidya is also the director of Cape Horn Hospital, Chhatrapati Sambhaji Nagar, and has significantly contributed to advancing geriatric and palliative healthcare services in our region. His vast experience and dedication to human healthcare make him the perfect person to enlighten us on this crucial subject. I now request Dr. S.D. Sirsat sir to kindly felicitate our distinguished guest. On behalf of the organizing committee, I humbly invite Dr. Narendra Vaidya to please come forward and share his valuable insights with us. Sir, this evening.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir. Good morning.
All ready? I am really excited, you know. Can you fill in the gaps so that I can see you? Just fill in the gaps. You are so young and nice. No, I feel really very young. So, today my topic is this palliative care, a moral and human rights perspective. Fifth period. Next slide. So they have introduced me, very kind introduction, but we doctors are known by this. Vaidya Namastubhyam, Yamarajasya Sahodara. We are younger brother of Yamaraj. Yamaraja takes only life. Doctors take life as well as money. So it is our family arrangement. Our elder brother says, no, this currency is not valid there. No, you keep it with you. So that is why you will find that doctors, they are always blamed that they take money. So this is our real introduction. There are so many jokes on doctors. Look, there are young people. There was a young girl, not lawyer, she was just a young girl. And there was a lawyer and a doctor who fell in love with her. The doctor used to send her rose every day. Lawyers are very intelligent. Lawyers are very intelligent. What he did, he just started sending an aperitif. So today now I am going to start because it's a very serious subject and you are so young. You must be having grandparents with you who are not so young. Or are they young? No, not so young. Look very old. Not so old. Come on. How about your grandparents? Very old. You don't like old people? In fact, there is something called as, you have that gender abuse, similarly you have gender abuse. That's really a legal. Anyway, I'm just going to show you. So how many of you do not understand Marathi at all? Do not understand Marathi at all. You don't understand Marathi. You won't miss much because I am bad at both the languages. They will do something, but you will not do anything. Fine. So this movie is of course in Hindi, typical short film, very good short film. So let us see that.
Thank you, sir, for your insightful address.
ये चालू सेशन चालू झालं
अरे કેટલી વાર ને ધંધી મારી મારીને થાકીને ચુસ્ત થઈ ગઈ. બિચારા બેસતી મીનાચે, so popular he was. Just need my sorry. Yeah, Chad, but sorry just took so many visitors, I had to borrow chairs from those dreadful Darwalas. But in your case, no. You are very lucky. I'm always there to help.
થેન્ક્સ ના જમાય પર કોઈ નહીં આવશે. આપણે મુંબઈ સમાચારમાં આપી દીધું છે. નો કન્ડોલન્સ વિઝિટ.
તેથી શું તો બી બધા દસી આવશે. Besides, yesterday was the Spono. How quickly time has passed. And today is Sunday. એટલે છુટ્ટીનો દિવસ. અરે વાહ, આ તો બેસતી મીનોચરની લગનની પગડી. કેવી અમનાવી, નવી મજાની ચલકતી લાગે છે.
હા, મને આપો જરા.
અરે દીકરા, why you are putting it here? Go and put it under lock and key. You know how much these things are costing? આપણા બીજી લાઇબ્રેરીના કાગજી બત્તીવાલાના દીકરાના લગન છે. And they are looking for a પગડી. પણ આજકાલ પગડી બનાવે જ કોણ? ચાલ મને બહુ લેટ થાય છે. ચાલ કાંઈ. અરે દીકરા, why is that diva burning in the bedroom?
હા, હું તો ભૂલી ગઈ. I'll let it go.
Ah, but it is very wrong, you know. Insaji dastura karne ki sikhavi nahi. Jo dikra, what happens for 4 days when the prayers are going on, no? The poor soul keeps visiting here. So the diva is there to welcome it. But once the 4-day prayers are over, then the soul has to quickly go over there. But if the diva is still burning in the bedroom, પછી બિચારા મીનોચરનો સોલ અહીંયા જાઉં કે ત્યાં જાઉં કે અહીંયા જાઉં ના વિચારમાં કેટલું કન્ફ્યુઝ થઈ જાય છે ને. ચાલો જાઉં. હા, પેલા માં ડિંસાજી દસ્તુરની તો એવી ખબર લેવું મારે મોર દસ્તુરનો તાતો.
Every day ka same story. How rough you are with this towel? Feels like bloody sandpaper on his bed soles. You have to be gentle, you know. अरे मैडम, रात को पेशेंट को बर्तन के माफिक साफ करता है.
So,
I'm taking you home.
then let's get in now. Now try finding a cab at this time.
Mr. Bathiwala, please. This is about a party. Revade, Mozart will jump in his grave.
Mozart may Verdi. Courage, darling.
Sukaraj means made us not come.
But why are you doing it, Meru? Lala, mane karwane di.
अरे रवाले एकदम फिक्को फचाक खाई दिया उसने लाव लाव करे छे. Meenu, I told you, Meenu, this is what you do to your medicine and your food.
Chanu, I'm fed up of this cosmos. I can't have it anymore.
You want sandi roti? Shall I make you some of that? Or how about some sasne machi? Huh? Your liver's become like BSC Basco engine and you're calling this Cascos? No wonder you're not getting any better. Don't smile, it's not funny. I'm not going to take any responsibility for you anymore if this is how you're going to behave. Sickness or no sickness, you get that straight. Me, no. I told you, this is what you do to your medicine and your food.
Chanu, I'm fed up of this cosmos. I can't have it anymore.
You want sandi roti? Give it to me. Shall I make you some of that? I give you a sweat. Your liver's become like BSC Basco engine and you're calling this Cascos?
Arey,
Here.
see, I didn't ask for it, okay?
I know you didn't ask for it. You did everything else except ask for it.
I know I can't have it, Janu. But this comes the closest to making me feel that I can.
No one will believe.
No one will believe what?
What a pain you are, that's all. Everyone will come and say, poor Meenu, how kind he was, what a good husband he was. Good husband, my foot. Manage kar rahe કેટલું બીજાનું દહીં કીધું જ તું એ.
મેં તારા બેજનું દહીં અને જાણે જા.
તો શું?
તો શું?
After you die also no peace. હજારો લોકો આવશે. What happened? What do the reports say? કા દુખ્યું? કેટલું દુખ્યું? Second opinion લીધો જ કે? You know what I tell them? ઉપર જઈને ask him only.
Allow. You have reached Manikchand Pahade. To know how I died, press 1. To know the exact time and location, press 2. To know more about my BEST Masnu engine Jego liver, press 3. For all other queries, please press 4 and wait for operator assistance. But under no circumstances are you to come and trouble my Mary with your idiotic questions. She doesn't want your sympathy anyway. So actually, don't press any button at all. Just leave us alone.
Give it to me. I play this at your funeral, huh?
Play? As if I can. In all probability, I should be dead by then.
Man, Mari man. Very sad about Apro Meenu. Please, madam, maaf karje. I'm sorry I couldn't come for the Uthamna that day. Gusta's count was so painful. Utane soon
Come.
Man, before you feel that I'm such a stupid woman for bringing my little son along at a time like this, I just wanted to tell you that there was really nobody at home that I could leave him with. And Satyu Kevto, we really don't leave him alone, you know. It's so dangerous nowadays. You read about that article in Mumbai Mirror? Igmo Hidawalo, he broke into a flat and he strangled a child and he stole everything. आपको घेर साफ करने आपके लिए खुदाई परवरदिगार बचावे आपने. So, what exactly happened?
Liver खराब थे गए लोग.
Acha, I see. The reports? You showed it to any other doctor? So, but then whom did you consult?
खरों तो it was a lost cause, Roshan.
So what courage, man. Nowadays, with these doctors, they can do anything. You read that report in Mumbai Mirror? Huh? These doctors in China, they made a new part for a man. There was this fellow in China and his girlfriend ran away with another man because he was ekdamas fellow no can do. So in frustration, he chopped it off. Ako I'm calling you. And then he flushed it down the toilet. And then later he regretted it or what, God knows. He landed up at the
Why is
hospital.
the door not closed? Here, some chill bottles of raspberry if you want, huh? Maintenance करूँगी तो मेरा टक्की outset. I'm Ajay, ever called?
Roshan, my cousin.
Pleased to meet you, huh?
Chai piece okay? Roshan.
I was just telling Mayor that these doctors, they made a new part for a man.
There was a war, Mario. Today they are putting all these artificial arms, legs, and those little things in the heart, no? That makes the blood pump faster.
नहीं तभी समझिया नहीं. I meant a new part for a man. A new part. जो मुँह को बद्दू बराबर कर सके. In China.
Chinese? अरे बेवकू, तो गारंटी करिए आप कुछ के 6 महीना Don't worry, man. I get it.
Babu, thank you.
Abuji. Abu, come. Have a seat. Besoji.
બહુ ખોટું થયું નહીં.
Suji? Actually, we won't take long. We've just come here for the burglary.
Bobby?
Oh, sorry, I'm Danish. Mr. Battiwala's son. Someone had called in the afternoon to come and have a look at it.
May I be so? Jolly, I'm very happy you're getting married in the correct Parsi way, you know, the way, ugly and everything. Because today, you know, Parsi boys are getting married in suit and tie. Janoj Keman. Last time I went to a wedding, the groom was in a shiny black suit, white lacy shirt and bow tie. Really cool like those Goan Topitala weddings of the Catholics. But Minoj's Rasmu is just over and you want to take away his pugly. No, not right at all.
Actually, that's true. Why don't you come back after the Masi so? That'll be much better.
No, it's okay. We're getting married. We will look somewhere else.
No, don't. I want you to have it.
See, man, this is very wrong, huh?
Please try it.
ગમે તે કરો પારસી કોમની તો પડતી આવેલી છે
Mayor, I also better get going. Actually, Gustav will be getting married, no? Pasi, chalo.
I'll convince my fiancé. How much would you like, Miss Misa?
No, it's okay.
Oh, then I'll return it after the wedding.
No, you can keep it. One day you'll have a son. And then maybe he'll need it. And then I'll have to fight with Najamai all over again.
Thank you. May I invite you to a wedding?
Of course, I would love to come for it.
Yes. What did you see? Anybody would like to share? What did you see here? Come on, we'll have interactive session, not interactive.
So the wife's positive approach towards his husband, the way she convinced him, though he was in the last few days of his life, but the atmosphere she kept around, they kept him more like leaving.
That's palliative care. Anything else? How idiot are people? Do they have any context? What to speak, what not to speak? This is our experience. Anything else you learn from this? हो चालेल चालेल.
एका व्यक्तीचा मृत्यू येतो त्याचे लिव्हर डॅमेज असल्यामुळे होते आणि त्याच्यामध्ये ते डिस्कशनमध्ये सांगितलं त्यांचा कंटेस्ट थोडासा वेगळा होता पण सध्या डॉक्टर्स नवीन ऑर्गन सुद्धा जनरेट करतात त्याच्याबद्दल सुद्धा तिथे डिस्कशन झालं
डॉक्टर्स काय करतात?
ऑर्गन जनरेट सुद्धा आपण स्टेम सेल्स तयार हे करतो ना
हो.
त्याच्याबद्दल सुद्धा त्याच्यामध्ये डिस्कशन केलं आणि मेन म्हणजे ते त्या व्यक्तीचा मृत्यू तुम्ही टाळू शकता म्हणजे असं तर नाही पण थोडंफार त्याच्याशी रिलेटेड होतं आणि लोक कसे वागतात ते तुम्ही सांगितलं.
मृत्यूबद्दल काय वाटतं तुम्हाला? मृत्यूबद्दल तुम्ही कधी विचार केला नसेल ना? केलेलं? अरे बापरे, म्हणजे ते हे झालं काय? तसं काही झालं नाही ना कुणाला? मग हरकत नाही. सहसा आपण मृत्यूबद्दल बोलत नाही. तो शब्द आपल्याकडे काय मानलेला आहे? अभद्र मानलेला आहे. या मुलाला मराठी बोलायला चालेल मी मराठीतून बोललो. आता पॅलिएटिव्ह केअर म्हणजे काय आणि आता याची गरज का पडते? तर 1947 साली काय झालं? स्वातंत्र्य मिळालं. त्या वर्षी भारतामध्ये सरासरी आयुर्मर्यादा फक्त 34 वर्षे होती. कारण खूप इन्फंट मॉर्टॅलिटी होती, मॅटर्निटी मॉर्टॅलिटी होती आणि खूप इन्फेक्टिव्ह डिसिजेस होते. आणि त्या काळामध्ये ना आजार सुद्धा काय होते की आता कॉलरा झाला तर 6 तासात मृत्यू व्हायचा, प्लेग झाला तर 1 आठवड्यात यायचा, डेंग्यू झाला तर 2-3 आठवडे लागायचे आणि टायफॉइडला 6 आठवडे लागायचे. त्यामुळे खूप केअर करावं लागायची. आता तुम्ही बघितलं असेल की बरेचसे जे एल्डर्स असतात ते डिपेंडंट असतात, त्यांना मदतीची गरज असते. आणि मग कधी कधी तुमच्यासारखे खूप तरुण मुलं तर ती मदत पण करायला जातात ना. तर असंच एका शाळेमध्ये सांगितलं होतं वृद्धांना मदत करा बरं आणि त्यांना खूप गरज असते. तर एक शाळेतला तो 8वीतला मुलगा त्याची घरातली मुलगी असं 2 जण दुसऱ्या दिवशी म्हणत मॅडम आम्ही म्हणे काय एका आजीना रस्ता क्रॉस करायला मदत केली आहे. वा वा वा. मग त्या आजी खूप खुश झाल्या असतील ना? नाही म्हणे त्या मला रागवल्या करताना त्रास करतो का? अशी पण मदत होती ना. तर पॅलिएटिव्ह केअरची का गरज पडते? तर पॅलिएटिव्ह केअर काय आहे टोटल केअर एक आमच्या डॉक्टर डेम सिसली मधून होऊन गेल्या, त्यांना मदर ऑफ पॅलिएटिव्ह केअर म्हणतात. त्या पहिल्यांदा नर्स होत्या आणि त्यांनी डेथच्या पेशंट्स बघितलं, मग त्यांनी MSW केलं. कारण डेथ इज ऑलवेज समथिंग, यू नो, डेथ, डू यू थिंक डेथ इज जस्ट एन इव्हेंट? व्हॉट डू यू थिंक अबाउट डेथ? सॉरी, तुम्ही इतके तरुण आहात की तुम्हाला असं विचारणं म्हणजे चुकीचं आहे. तुम्ही आता कधी म्हाताऱ्या होत नसतात. मुलीच नाही म्हातारा. हा, आणि आता या जनरेशनच्या मुली तर 100 वर्ष जगणार आहे. कारण लाईफस्टाईल वाढत चाललंय. आता अर्बन जे 34 वर्ष होतं ते अर्बन एरियामध्ये आता किती झालं माहिती का? पुरुषांसाठी 74 आणि स्त्रियांसाठी 76. स्त्रिया जास्त जगतात. कोणीतरी म्हणालं त्यांना बायको नसती म्हणून त्या जगतात. मी काय म्हणतो, त्या जगतात कारण निसर्ग त्यांना तसं बनवलेलं आहे. निसर्ग पुरुष तसे तेवढे पाठक नसतात, तेवढ्या स्त्रिया असतात. मॅडम रागू नका. तुम्हाला फार भीती वाटतं. तर म्हणून ज्या वेळेला डॉक्टर सांगतात की आता करण्यासारखं काही नाही आहे, त्यावेळेला आम्ही फक्त फिजिकल ऍस्पेक्ट बघत असतो. आम्ही सायकोलॉजिकल, सोशल आणि स्पिरिच्युअल ऍस्पेक्ट बघत नाही. पेनचा, हा पेनचा जो सोशल आणि स्पिरिच्युअल ऍस्पेक्ट आहे तो बघणं म्हणजे मग पॅलिएटिव्ह केअर. आता काय होतं आपल्याकडे, हेल्थ म्हणजे काय? व्हॉट इज द डेफिनेशन ऑफ हेल्थ? Can everybody tell me?
Physical and mental well-being.
Okay. तर WHO ने अशी डेफिनेशन केली की हेल्थ इज नॉट जस्ट ॲब्सेन्स ऑफ डिसीज, बट इट इज अ complete state of well-being of physical well-being, psychological well-being, and spiritual well-being, social well-being also. तर आपल्याकडे हेल्थची डेफिनेशन काय? हेल्थ इज इक्वल टू इल, पिल, बिल. मी आजारी पडलोय, मला गोळी द्या, पैसे घ्या, बरं करा. बरं नाही झालं तर वकिलांकडे आहे. तेव्हा आम्ही डॉक्टर खूप घाबरतो वकिलांकडे. माझ्या घरी वकील आहेत म्हणून मला एवढी फार भीती नाही वाटत, पण आता भीती वाटते मला. कारण आपण समजून घेत नाही वकील साहेब. आणि म्हणून आपल्याकडे पॅलिएटिव्ह केअर की जी खरं फॅमिली द्यायला पाहिजे ती दिली जात नाही. नेक्स्ट पॅलिएटिव्ह शब्दाचा अर्थ क्लोज आहे, म्हणजे असं उदाहरण क्लोज याच्यामध्ये. आणि त्याच्यामध्ये महत्वाची गोष्ट म्हणजे काय माहिती का, की मृत्यू नाही टाळता येणार. मृत्यू लवकर पण आणायचा नाही आणि मृत्यू लांबवायचा पण नाही. ते आपल्याकडे बरं सुप्रीम कोर्टाने इच्छा मरणाला परवानगी दिली नाही, नाही तर माझी इच्छा त्यांचं मरण असं झालं. सुप्रीम कोर्ट फक्त लिव्हिंग विल पर्यंतच थांबले बरोबर झाला. तर पॅलिएटिव्ह केअरमध्ये लवकर पण मृत्यू आणत नाही आणि लांबवत पण नाही तुझ्याच. आज काय झालं माहिती का, की लाईफ सपोर्ट्समुळे ना बऱ्याच वेळेला नैसर्गिक मृत्यू लांबवला जातो. तर तो पॅलिएटिव्ह केअरमध्ये आपण हे करत नाही. पॅलिएटिव्ह केअर काय आहे, तर इट इज पेशंट सेंटर्ड रादर दॅन डिसीज सेंटर्ड. आमचं जे ट्रेनिंग असतं ना डॉक्टरांचं, ते सगळं ना डिसीज ओरिएंटेड असतं. म्हणजे मी बऱ्याच वेळेला माझ्या रुग्णाला सांगतो, आता कसं झालं, वय झाल्यानं माझं मी खूप बोलत असतो. आता तुम्हाला येईल लागू होतो, म्हणजे खूप वेळ बोलत असतो. तर आम्ही डॉक्टर लोक काय करतो की फक्त जे रुग्ण सांगतो ना त्याच्या सिम्पटम्स बद्दलचा विचार करत असतो. आणि ते सब्जेक्टिव्ह असतात. आम्हाला नॉन जजमेंटल राहावं लागतं डॉक्टर्सला. डॉक्टर्सला सिम्पटम जे आहे सब्जेक्टिव्ह ते मान्य करावं लागतं. माझा असा हात केला दुखतो म्हणजे की आम्ही म्हणू शकतो तुम्ही कशाला करता तुम्ही सांगितलं. तेव्हा आमच्या डोक्यात सुरू होतं की आता कुठला मसल टेंडन झालेला असेल का एखादा लिगामेंट झालेला असेल, माझा पुढचा प्रश्न विचारतो असं काही फेकलं होतं का वगैरे. पण सामान्य लोक म्हणजे कुणी करायला नाही, त्याच्यात म्हातारा असेल तर तुम्ही कशाला काय करता असं पण उचलू नका. तर आम्ही तो विचार करायला लागतो आणि मग त्या सिम्पटमसाठी काही करता येत असेल, कारण आमची अपेक्षा म्हणजे तुम्ही आला त्याचा अर्थ काय की तुम्ही एका अपेक्षेने आलात की आता काहीतरी याला औषधे आणि रिलीफ द्या. पण सगळ्याच आजारांमध्ये फक्त फिजिकल रिलीफला काही उपयोग नसतो, तर त्याच्यामध्ये काही सोशल ॲस्पेक्ट्स असतात, त्याच्यामध्ये सायकोलॉजिकल ॲस्पेक्ट्स असतात आणि स्पिरिच्युअल ॲस्पेक्ट्स असतात. आमच्या एक डॉक्टर होऊन गेल्या एलिझाबेथ कुबलर रॉस, त्यांना डेथ लेडी म्हणून म्हणायचे, कारण त्यांनी पहिल्यांदा डाईंग पर्सन्सवरती अभ्यास सुरू केला होता. आपण कधी कुठे बसतो का एखाद्या मृत्यूशयनाच्या माणसापाशी? नाही बसत. माझ्या मते जगात सगळ्यात अवघड काम कुठलं असेल तर ज्याचे आता काही तास काही दिवस शिल्लक राहिले त्याच्यापाशी बसणे भयंकर अवघड, कारण आपल्याला काय बोलायचं तेच कळत नाही. मग आपण असं चीन मधला वगैरे सांगत बसतो. नाही का? मग आता काय लिव्हर ट्रान्सप्लांट होते, अमुक होते, तमुक होते, असं सगळं सांगत बसतो आपण. पण त्यांना त्यावेळेला त्याची गरज नसते. खरं सांगायचं तर वृद्ध माणसाला काय लागतं माहिती का? फक्त टच लागतं. सर तुमचा हात द्या, असं फक्त असं लागतं, बाकी काही लागत नाही. म्हणून मी मुलांना बऱ्याच वेळा विचारतो, सर when did you touch your father last? केलाय टच फादरला? हॅव यू टच युअर फादर? कधी? त्यांना आठवत असेल. Usually we don't touch father. Mother is okay, mother is fine. Father is difficult, nahi ka? But actually what he needs is just touch. So that is why this palliative care is more, of a touch than technology. It is rather healing than curing. Next. आता हा डेथ जो असतो हा डेथ कम्प्लीट करावा लागतो. I always tell people, death, this word is for unknown person. For person I know or related to one, it is not death, it is departure. It is departure. आणि ते डिपार्चर कसं पाहिजे? पूर्वीला ज्या वेळेला खूप कमी प्रवास करायचे लोक, त्यावेळेला गावाला जाताना मग सगळं घर त्याला रेल्वे स्टेशनवर सोडायला जायचं. आता इतके प्रवास करतात की घरच्याला पण माहिती नसतं हा कुठून आला आता कुठं चाललाय. त्यामुळे आता कुणी काही कुणाला सोडायला बिडायला जात नाही. पण पूर्वी होतं असं. तर ते जे डिपार्चर होतं की नाही, ते डिपार्चर ह्याच्यामध्ये असतं. काय असतं तर मला सांगता आलं पाहिजे आय लव्ह यू. माझा मुलगा आहे, मुलगी आहे. बऱ्याच जणांचं असं म्हणजे पॅलिटिव्ह केअरमधल्या ज्या नर्सेस आहेत, एंड ऑफ लाईफ केअर हॉस्पिटल्समधल्या, त्यांचे अनुभव आहे की शेवटी जाताना जे मी माझ्या मुलीशी बोलायला पाहिजे ते मी त्या नर्सशी बोलतो. आणि मी म्हणतो मी मुलीला माफ करायला कळतो, माझ्या मनाविरुद्ध लग्न करून घरातून निघून गेली, तिला खूप वाईट वागवलं. हे कुणापाशी बोलायला मिळतं? पण ते बोलतात कुणापाशी? नर्सपाशी. तर हे पॅलिटिव्ह केअरमध्ये हे तुम्हाला स्पिरिच्युअल ॲस्पेक्ट जो आहे तो कम्प्लीट करण्यासाठी आय लव्ह यू, फॉरगिव्ह मी. आता मॅडम म्हणल्या ना हल्ली मुलं झोप देत नाही, कारण तुम्ही मुलांना कसंही वाढवा ते तुमचे दोषच काढतात. माझे मुलं हल्ली आता पेरेंटिंगचे वर्कशॉप करतात, तर आल्यावर बाबा तुम्ही अशी वागला. ते स्वतःच बघत नाही, ते माझं बघतात. त्यामुळे मग आय फॉरगिव्ह मी, आय फॉरगिव्ह यू. Thank you. And goodbye. Goodbye till we meet again. Because आपल्या कल्चरमध्ये आपण काय समजतो की वी आर गोइंग टू मीट अगेन, नाही का? आपण नाही का ते वडापाव म्हणजे सॉरी वडाची पूजा करतो ती नाही का? म्हणून ते लो टेक हाय टच, लो टेक हाय टच. म्हणजे पॅलिटिव्ह केअरमध्ये तुम्हाला हे नाही मिळणार व्हेंटिलेटर वगैरे, पण पॅलिटिव्ह केअरमध्ये शांतपणे बसून तुमच्या शेजारी बसून हात हातात घेऊन बसलेला एखादा केअरगिव्हर असतो. तेवढंच त्यांचं काम आहे. सो हायटेक इन्व्हेस्टिगेशन करतात, पण ते जर का कम्फर्ट देणार असतील तर केले जातात, कोणतंच केलं जात नाही. ठीक आहे, नेक्स्ट. टीमवर्क आहे आणि त्याच्यामध्ये क्वालिटी ऑफ लाईफ दिली जाते. व्हॉट इज क्वालिटी ऑफ लाईफ? हॅलो, हाव आर यू? फाईन, ग्रेट, ओके. हाव इज द क्वालिटी ऑफ युअर लाईफ? ग्रेट, दॅट्स ग्रेट. पण क्वालिटी ऑफ लाईफ आय कॅन डिफाईन माझ्या अपेक्षा आणि रियालिटी याच्यातली गॅप म्हणजे क्वालिटी ऑफ लाईफ. मला खूप वाटतं असं असावं, पण असंच आहे. मला उसकी कमीज मेरे कमीज से ज्यादा सफेद तू. गेली क्वालिटी ऑफ लाईफ. मग आपण लोक विचारतात हवा येऊन फाईन, मला पण तो कुठल्या आलं फाईन, तू फाईनवाले रोज दुसऱ्याचा तुमचं असेल बाबा फाईन आमचं. जाऊ दे, तुलाही वेळ नाही मलाही वेळ नाही का? सो वी आर नॉट क्वालिटी ऑफ लाईफ जी आहे ती आपण त्या पेशंटची तर कधीच बघत नाही. आपण फक्त बघत असतो मी काय करू शकतो, मी काय काय ट्रीटमेंट देता येते. तुम्ही बघितलं ती शेवटी हे पण देते, मासा पण देते खायला, तो खात नाही. पण असं बऱ्याच वेळा होतं माझ्याकडे दवाखान्यामध्ये, बऱ्याच वेळेला लोक म्हणतात अहो ते ऐकतो तुम्ही खातात, म्हटलं खाऊ दे ना, काय बिघडलं आता? आता शेवटच्या दिवशी ब्लड शुगर कुठे बघणार आहे, नाही का? पण ते लोकांना आपल्याकडे म्हणजे थोडा विषय वेगळा बोलतो. आपल्याकडे ना मी असं म्हणतो की लाईफ इज ओनली काय जीवनामध्ये तर ओनली कॉन्व्हर्सेशन्स, नाही का? आता मी काय करतो, कॉन्व्हर्सेशन करतो. तुम्ही इच्छा नसली तरी ऐकावं लागतं, हे दाखवतं लागतं की ऐकतं. फाईन, सो ओनली कॉन्व्हर्सेशन करतो. त्या कॉन्व्हर्सेशन्समध्ये आपल्याला दोन मोड फार आवडतात. पहिला मोड असतो यू आर रॉंग, आय एम राईट, यू आर रॉंग. मी नाही खायचं, मी सांगतो ना नाही खायचं, यू आर रॉंग. दुसरा असतं आय वॉन्ट टू डॉमिनेट यू, और आय वॉन्ट टू अवॉइड युअर डॉमिनेशन. बघा तुम्ही काय घरातलं आठवत आहे वडिलांचं, आलेच डोळ्यासमोर. मग याने काय होतं माहिती का, याने कॉन्व्हर्सेशन पण चांगलं होत नाही आणि आपलं कॉर्टिसॉल नावाचं हॉर्मोन वाढतं आणि त्याच्यामुळे आपण आजारी पडतो. हे दोन जर मोड सोडले ना तर तुम्ही आजारीच पडतात. आम्हाला डॉक्टर लोकांना दुसरं कामं बघा, बाहेर कुणाला सांगू नका, तुम्ही मात्र करू नका, तुम्ही नका आजारी पडू, बाहेर सांगू नका. पण खरं म्हणजे माणसं आजारी पडायला पण ती एवढीच काल नाही. एव्हरी कॉन्व्हर्सेशन इज इदर हिलिंग और हर्टिंग. If it is hurting, there will be hormone release, particularly cortisol. If it is healing, fine, the good hormones will be released, endorphins will be released. म्हणून एखाद्या मित्राबरोबर आपल्याला खूप छान वाटतं, एखाद्या मित्राबरोबर खूप राग येतो, एखादा टीचर आपल्याला खूप आवडतो, एखादा काही जणांना टीचर अजिबात आवडत नाही, त्यांना त्यांचे वडील पण आवडत नाही. बघा ना, तुमच्या वेळी कुणाला आता इथे टीचर बसल्यावर तुम्ही काय म्हणणार नाही, पण इट इज अ नोन फॅक्ट की एखादा खूप चांगला टीचर असतो, सगळे मुलं म्हणतो वा काय टीचर आहे, पण एकच मुलगा असतो त्याचं त्याच्या बाबांशी जमलेलं. सो आता आपल्याला मॉरल आणि एथिकल सांगितलेलं, बघायला बोलायला सांगितलेलं. आय होप मी काही खूप ट्रॅकच्या बाहेर जात नाही आहे. तर एथिकल इश्यूज काय असतात, तर आम्हाला ना तुमचं ते काय की न्यायदेवता काय आहे ना, ती आता आंधळी नाही वाटत. आता तिची पट्टी काढली आहे ना, कोणतीच तर ती ऑटॉनॉमी आहे, त्याच्यानंतर बेनिफिशन्स आहे, माल बेनिफिशन्स आहे, मॉरॅलिटी आहे, एथिक्स आहे. हे सगळं आम्हाला बघावं लागतं निर्णय घेताना. पुन्हा त्याच्यामध्ये एक प्रिन्सिपल ऑफ डबल इफेक्ट असतो. मी गोळी दिली मॅडमला हेडेकसाठी, पण त्यांना ना पुरवळा लावला. आता त्या गेल्या कोर्टात, तर कोर्ट मला प्रोटेक्शन करते की नाही, त्यांनी काही पुरावा घेण्यासाठी गोळी नव्हती दिली. दॅट वॉज नॉट द इंटेंट. हेडेकसाठी होतं, इट इज अ नोन फॅक्ट. मग ते त्यांना सांगितलं नाही नाही तसं काही नाही आहे, तुमचा हे खडा आम्ही रिजेक्ट करतो. सो दॅट इज डबल इफेक्ट. की माझं इंटेन्शन चांगलं आहे, पण साईड इफेक्ट सगळ्याच्याच असतात. माणसापासून म्हणजे एनिथिंग अंडर द सन इन्क्लुडिंग सन. अलर्जी असती, साईड इफेक्ट असतो. त्या सनच्या खाली माणसं असतात, माणसांचे तेवढे साईड इफेक्ट असतात, नाही का? सो हे सगळं आम्हाला बघावं लागतं. आचारशास्त्र बघावं लागतं, एथिक्स, मॉरॅलिटी. तर मला वेळ झाला नाही, मागून ओढा मला सांगता येईल. मी त्यासाठी वेळ घालत मॅडम मेळाकडे बघत नाही म्हणून मला इकडे वाटलं. आता मृत्यू कसा असावा असं जर का तुम्ही आमच्या पिढीला विचारलं तर ते म्हणतात अनाचार्य मरण असावं, कुठला त्रास नसावा. पण असं होत नाही. या एलिझाबेथ कुबलर रॉसने म्हणलेलं की डेथ बद्दल आपला काय विचार असतो, की नेव्हर डाय. म्हणजे आपल्याला तो विचार पण नको वाटत. म्हणजे आता आम्ही काही वर्षांनी असं होणार आहे की एखाद्या नातवाला जर निरोप मिळाला आणि आजोबा गेले, मग तो म्हणजे खुश होते, कारण मृत्यूचं फक्त तेवढंच एक कारण राहिलं आता. त्यामुळे तो म्हणजे हो खुश होते. नैसर्गिकरित्या गेले, उत्पत्ती वाढलंय, ते राहणार नाही, नाही का? आपण जन्म घेतो, साधारणतः 17 वर्षापर्यंत आपली वाढ होती. 17 ते 30 खूप बेस्ट पिरियड असतो लाईफमधला. त्यातले तुम्ही एन्जॉय करताय. 30 वर्षानंतर आपण म्हातारे होत जातो. साधी म्हणजे बायका सोडून 30 वर्षानंतर म्हातारे व्हायला लागतात. सॉरी तुम्हाला माहित होते, पण 30 नंतर ते सुरू होतं. आपला जो होमिओस्टॅसिस असतो, कारण हेल्थ इज अ डायनॅमिक स्टेट. इतर बाह्य जंतू, जीवाणू, एन्व्हायरमेंट आणि व्यक्ती त्याचे रेस फार असते आणि इट इज अ डायनॅमिक थिंग. त्याच्यामध्ये ज्या वेळेला आपले सगळे इन्ग्रेडियंट चांगले असतात त्यावेळेला वी कॅन ओव्हरकम ऑल दोज थिंग्स. त्याला आम्ही होमिओस्टॅसिस म्हणतो. तो 50 नंतर 60 नंतर कमी कमी व्हायला लागतो आणि मग 70 नंतर मग तो अजूनच कमी होतो आणि मग माणूस म्हातारा व्हायला लागतो. आपण म्हणतो म्हातारे झाले त्यावेळेला. सो आणि मग त्याच्यानंतर इतकं सगळं कमी होतं की माणूस मग मृत पावतो. सो ओल्ड एज इज समटाइम्स डिफाइंड ॲज अ स्टेज विच एंड्स इन डेथ. तर दॅट इज वॉट शी सेज की वी आर डेथ फिअरिंग सोसायटी झालो आहे आता. डेथ डिनाईंग सोसायटी झाली, डेथ फिअरिंग सोसायटी झाली. तर मृत्यूचे ना राजमार्ग असतात. समृद्धी हायवे, स्टेट हायवे, नॅशनल हायवे, नाही का? आणि त्याच्यावरती ते तुलनाके असतात. हॉस्पिटल नावाचे यू हॅव टू पे द टोल ना, कारण वैद्यराजन नमस्तुभ्यं यमराजस्य सहोदरा. तर आमच्या सगळ्यांची इच्छा असते की काय व्हावं, तर पटकन मरण यावं, चांगलं चालता बोलता असतं. तर ते फक्त ना 7% त्याचं उत्कृष्ट उदाहरण म्हणजे आपले प्रेसिडेंट डॉक्टर कलाम. He went to Assam, delivered a talk in the IIT, and he collapsed there. म्हणजे physically and cognitively he was fine, normal. Secondly, you know, there are around 22% deaths, predicted death आहे असं म्हणतो. डॉक्टर particularly cancers, मग डॉक्टर किती म्हणजे तुमच्यामध्ये म्हणजे जसं काही आम्हाला पण असं वाटतं की आपण वी आर गॉड, तर त्याचा भाऊ आहे तर असं वाटतं आपण पण गॉडच आहे. तर मग मी सांगतो द रिसर्च इज 6 months. द स्टेज ही इज सफरिंग. सोडवले बाबा म्हणजे आणि गेल्यानंतर सुटले सुटला म्हणजे ते सुटले आणि मुलं सुटला बाबा मुलगा अशी परिस्थिती असते. तर खरा प्रॉब्लेम हा 47% लोकांना पॅलेटिव्ह केअर कशी द्यायची त्याच्यामध्ये आहे. आणि 5वी एक ट्रेजेक्टरी असती नेक्स्टली, त्याच्यामध्ये काय होतं की कॅटॅस्ट्रॉफिक इंजुरीज असतात. खूप ब्लिडिंग झालंय, स्ट्रोक झालंय, खुब्याचं हाड फ्रॅक्चर झालंय. त्याच्यामध्ये ना एकतर एकदम मृत्यू येतो, नाहीतर मग हळूहळू त्यांचा खूप सांभाळ करावा लागेल. इथे पॅलेटिव्ह केअर आहे पुढचं बघून तर आपल्याकडे काय आहे परिस्थिती. असं म्हणतात इंडिया इज द वर्स्ट कंट्री टू डाय. हा, इट्स द वर्स्ट कंट्री टू डाय. वाय? बिकॉज हे संघमित्रा म्हणून एक ऑन्कॉलॉजिस्ट आहेत, ते आहेत बाहेर पण ते आसाममध्ये खूप काम करतात कॅन्सरवरती. ते म्हणतात दे पुअर इन इंडिया द पुअर डाय निग्लेक्ट दे आर निग्लेक्टेड. कुणी लक्षच देत नाही तुमच्याकडे. दॅट्स निग्लेक्टेड ॲग्नी. द मिडल क्लास इन इग्नोरंट ॲग्नी. दे आर इग्नोरंट. त्यामुळे ते म्हणतात की असं कसं काही नाही केलं. चीनमध्ये तर ते बनवतात तर लिव्हरला काय लागलं असं. दे आर इग्नोरंट. काय आहे नेमकं जन्म मृत्यू आहे काय. त्याच्यानंतर द रिच डाय इन ॲगनायझिंग सुसाईड ICU. आपल्याकडे तुम्ही बघाल की डॉक्टर शॉपिंग, हॉस्पिटल हॉपिंग चालू असतं. मग अगदी एंड ऑफ लाईफच्या माणसालाही विमानातून घेऊन जातात तिकडं 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 तिकडं. त्याला नॅचरल डेथ नाही होते, त्याला त्रास देतात. म्हणून लिव्हिंग विल आहे. मी तुम्हाला 2 मृत्यू सांगतो. एक मृत्यू आहे 93 वर्षाचे VVIP. ते आहेत डिमेन्शिया झालाय त्यांना, किडनी फेल्युअर आहे, अनकंट्रोल डायबिटीस आहे आणि त्यांचा डेथ हॉस्पिटलमध्ये इक्को नावाच्या मशीनवर होतो. एज किती आहे? 93. दुसरे 93 इयर्स ओल्ड आहेत, इक्वली VVIP, माइल्ड टू मॉडरेट डिमेन्शिया. त्यांचा मृत्यू घरी झाला आहे नातेवाईकांसोबत. आदल्या दिवशी त्यांना फोन लावून दिला होता, काही मित्रांशी ते बोलले आणि मग डेथ झाला. काय वाटतं तुम्हाला या 2 डेथबद्दल? म्हणजे असं वेळ तुम्हाला कुठलं आवडेल म्हणून तसं नाही विचारलं. दुसरा वाला. हा, पहिला वाला जो डेट आहे तो आपले वाजपेयी, अटल बिहारी वाजपेयी. कोण पाहिजे, कोण जबाबदारी घेणार त्याची, निर्णय कोण घेणार, हेल्थ प्रॉक्सी कोण आहे? Nobody is there to take this decision. So do everything till end. दुसरे जे VVIP आहे ते जॉर्ज बुश सिनियर, अमेरिकेचे एक्स प्रेसिडेंट. आता अमेरिकेमध्ये तर अजून इक्मोपेक्षा जास्त कुठल्या मशीन्स मिळाल्या असतील, बट ही हॅड डन दॅट लिव्हिंग विल. म्हणून लिव्हिंग विलचं खूप महत्त्व आहे. आणि मला म्हणून वकिलांना बघितलं असं वाटतं की तुम्हाला सांगावं की ह्याच्यावर काम करा म्हणून, लोकांना प्रवृत्त करा. तो विषय नाही आहे माझा, उद्या त्याच्यावरती आहे. ते कधी करावं? शूमाकरचं वय काय? कोण आहे शूमाकर? फॉर्म्युला 1. किती वय आहे? 80, 90? तो किती वर्षाचा असताना त्याला ऍक्सिडेंट झाला? गुगल. किती वर्षाचा असताना झाला ऍक्सिडेंट झाला? बघा बरं, गुगलवर बघा. ऑब्विसली तो फॉर्म्युला रेस म्हणजे यंगच होता ना, नाही का? आणि तो प्रचंड श्रीमंत होता, पण लिव्हिंग विल नसल्यामुळं तो आता कपलला झाला आणि अजून जिवंत आहे, पण व्हेजिटेटिव्ह एक्झिस्टन्स. सो हेड इंजुरी कॅन ऑकर ॲट एनी एज, दॅट कॅटास्ट्रॉफिक इंजुरी कॅन ऑकर ॲट एनी एज. तर केव्हाही करा, खूप सुप्रीम कोर्ट म्हणतं 18 वर्षाच्या वर करा, आम्ही म्हणतो ठीक आहे तुम्ही 60च्या सुरुवातीच करा. आता
44 एक्सिडेंट झाला होता, आता 57.
हा, मग केव्हा करायचं? लिव्हिंग सक्षम असताना करून ठेवायचं. बिकॉज इट इज द एंड ऑफ लाईफ डायरेक्टिव्ह. माहित नाही, तुम्ही ज्या वेळेला 80 वर्षाच्या वर त्यावेळेला टेक्नॉलॉजी काहीतरी वेगळीच असेल, तुम्ही मरणारच नाही. डेथ विल बी ऑप्शनल. Do you want to die? No. Okay, fine. पण आज ज्या पद्धतीने आपल्याकडे आहे मृत्यू, ते बघता लिव्हिंग विल करणं खूप गरजेचं आहे. आम्ही ते आस्थामध्ये ते पण काम करतो, आम्ही पण करतो लिव्हिंग विल केलेलं आहे म्हणजे, आणि लोकांना मदत करतो, आम्ही त्याचं काउन्सिलिंग करतो, कशा पद्धतीने करायचं, काय करायचं. आता ते तुमच्या ह्याच्यावर खूप छान छान त्याचे फॉर्म्स वगैरे उपलब्ध आहेत. विधी नावाची एक संस्था आहे बेंगलोरची, मॅम, त्यांनी खूप छान केलेले आहे. सो नेक्स्ट, हे सगळं पॉवर्टी वगैरे सगळं हेल्थकेअरमुळे होतं आणि पुअर आर ऑलवेज निग्लेक्टेड. नेक्स्ट, आता पॅलिटिव्ह केअर म्हणजे की काय आहे डोळ्यापुढं, तर ते 6 आंधळे आणि हत्ती. व्हॉट इज पॅलिटिव्ह केअर? तर त्या आंधळ्याच्या हातात जे येतो ते. मग कुणीतरी म्हणतं ते फक्त कॅन्सरचं आहे, कुणीतरी म्हणतं ते फक्त थिरॅपी म्हणजे म्हाताऱ्यांशी संबंधित आहे. एनिवे दे आर गोइंग टू डाय ना, व्हाय यू वरी अबाउट देम, नाही का? एनिवे दे आर गोइंग टू डाय, व्हाट्स देम? सो इट्स नॉट व्हेरी इम्पॉर्टंट, राईट? And some say it is only cancer, some say it is end of life care, but it is comfort care. You know, dignity. Dignity ठेवणं खूप महत्वाचं आहे. How is dignity defined? मला खूप एक छान डेफिनेशन आवडते dignity. बुद्धिबळाचा खेळ असतो ना, त्याच्यामध्ये राणी आणि वजीर खूप पॉवरफुल असतात. राणी, वजीर, जे माझं पर्सनहूड होतं तरुण असताना, प्रौढ असताना, ते म्हणजे बुद्धिबळातले राणी आणि वजीरासारखे. आणि डिग्निटी म्हणजे राजासारखी आहे. राणी आणि वजीर गेलं तरी खेळ नाही काम करत, पण राजा गेला की, त्यामुळे डिग्निटी खूप महत्वाची. आणि ही डिग्निटी ठेवण्याची जबाबदारी ही आपली आहे, पर्सनहूड. खास करून ज्या वेळेला ती व्यक्ती रुग्ण झालेली असते, आणि मग त्यावेळेला खूप अवघड जातं. म्हणून आम्ही आमच्या ट्रेनिंगमध्ये पण सांगतो आमच्या हेल्थकेअर वर्कर्सना की त्यांचं पर्सनहूड नेहमी लक्षात घ्या, हे जरी आज आजारी असले तरी. सो डिग्निटी इज व्हेरी इम्पॉर्टंट. तर हे सगळं का क्लिष्ट झाला मृत्यू गेल्या 25 वर्षामध्ये? तर एक काय झालं की प्रोग्रेस खूप झाला आहे, सगळी टेक्नॉलॉजी आली, व्हेंटिलेटर आले, इक्मो आले, एव्हरीथिंग टेक्नॉलॉजी. त्याच्यामुळे तो क्लिष्ट झाला आहे. त्याच्यानंतर हे सगळे ऑर्गन ट्रान्सप्लांट्स वगैरे आलेले आहेत. त्याच्यानंतर एक अजून एक महत्वाची गोष्ट काय झाली माहिती का? त्याला ना आम्ही सिस्टर फ्रॉम कॅलिफोर्निया म्हणतो. मी माझ्या वडिलांची काळजी घेत असतो, शेवटचे दिवस असतात काही, डॉक्टरांनी मला विचारलेलं असतं की काय करायचं. मग मी सांगतो त्यांची इच्छा होती की फार काही अग्रेसिव्ह करू नका, आणि त्या पद्धतीने निर्णय घेतला जातो. आता 2 दिवसांनी माझी बहीण येते कॅलिफोर्नियामध्ये राहते, म्हणजे ती खूप हुशार पण आहे ना, सगळं टेक्नॉलॉजी वगैरे. येऊन म्हणते हॉस्पिटलमध्ये गो टोल्ड यू टू डू दॅट. माझा पण तितका अधिकार आहे. आय मिस डॉक्टर, आय विल टू सू यू. लगेच तुमच्याकडे येईल. मग ते होईल म्हणून आम्ही काय करतो, आधीच म्हणतो नाही लावा व्हेंटिलेटर. पण ती केव्हाही माहीत नाही सिस्टर फ्रॉम कॅलिफोर्निया. तर खरं पाहिलं असतं हे सगळं टाळण्यासाठी, चांगला मृत्यू येण्यासाठी ना एकदा केव्हा तरी मुलं मोठी झाली ना की त्यांच्याशी एकदाच चर्चा करा असं सांगतो. रोज बरेच झाला करतो नाही करतो असं रोज नका उठल्यापासून सांगितलं एकदा त्यांच्याशी बोला आणि मग लिव्हिंग विल करून ठेवा. कारण आणि लिव्हिंग विलचं लँग्वेज पण मला बरेच जण विचारतात. तुम्ही तर मराठीत करू शकता पण इंग्रजीत करा. कारण आता काय झालेलं आहे की तुम्ही कुठे जाल काहीच माहित नाही. मुलं कुठं असतील काय असतील इंग्रजीत करा. आता बँगलोरला गेले नोकरीला गेले तुम्ही त्यांच्याकडे गेले फक्त आजारी पडले काहीतरी झालं. लिव्हिंग विल इंग्रजीत असतील तर बरं म्हणून इंग्रजी भाषा सांगतो मी करायला, पण मराठीत पण करता येतं. आणि हे सगळ्यामुळे काय झालं, मृत्यू अतिशय क्लिष्ट झाला. नेक्स्ट हे बघा, हे काय मला पण नाही सांगता येणार की कुठली नळी कुठून चालली कुठे येते काहीच नाही. आणि हा मृत्यू होता. तुमच्या ह्याच्यामध्ये सगळ्यात वाईट पनिशमेंट कुठली आहे? मृत्यूदंड नाही, त्याला खटकन एकदाच होतं. खट झालं मृत्यू सगळ्यात सोपी शिक्षा आहे. एकांतवासाची शिक्षा. कुणीच बघत दिसत नाही, काहीच प्रकाश पण नाही, काही नाही. आयसीयू चारी बाजूने पडते, कोणी दिसत नाही, कोणीच दिसत नाहीये आणि मृत्यू होत आहे. ही सगळ्यात वाईट शिक्षा जी आहे ती तुम्हाला आयसीयू मध्ये मिळते. मग आयसीयू सगळे बंद केले पाहिजे का? नाही. आयसीयू आर व्हेरी इम्पॉर्टंट तरुणांमध्ये, ऍक्सिडेंट नंतर. नॉट फॉर पीपल हु आर डिमेन्शिया, न्यूरोडिजनरेटिव्ह, न्यूरोडिक्लाइन, नॉट फॉर दॅम. तर हे कोणी ठरवायचं? तर हे मीच ठरवायचं. म्हणून आम्ही लिव्हिंग विलमध्ये म्हणतो जर आणि जेव्हा इनफॅक्ट अदरवाईज मला जर असा एखादा आजार झाला की माझा मेंदू त्या क्षमतेत नाही राहिला निर्णय घेण्याच्या, तर खालील सूचनांचं पालन करावं. मग त्याच्यात मी काय करेल, व्हेंटिलेटर नको, डायलिसिस नको, अजून काय नको वगैरे ते लिहून ठेवायचं. मी पुढचं पण लिहिलं जातं, पण पुढचं ते करतात की आपल्याला काय होतं तुम्ही बघू शकतो. पण लिहिता येतं की माझा अमुक करा, अमुक करू नका. आपल्याकडे ते पाळतीलच काही नाही. ती नाही का म्हातारी म्हणते असे तेल लोक टाकत होतो, आत्मा गडबडून जातो, कन्फ्युज होतो, इथं जाऊ तिथं जाऊ. म्हणजे ते सोसायटी आणि हे सगळं खूप आपल्याकडं मोठं प्रॉब्लेम करतं. नेक्स्ट आता दुसरे काय, तर पहिली गोष्ट म्हणजे इफेक्टिव्ह कम्युनिकेशन पाहिजे कोणाशी, हेल्थकेअर टीमशी. कारण आपल्याकडे कधी कधी ना डॉक्टरला वैद्याला काय म्हणतात, विष्णू स्वरूप म्हणतात. मग त्याच्याशी चांगले संबंध पाहिजे ना. पण आपल्याकडे भयंकर ताणलेले संबंध असतात. म्हणून डॉक्टर शॉपिंग, हॉस्पिटल शॉपिंग असतं. माझ्या पेशंटला मी नेहमी सांगतो, आपल्यामध्ये ना 3 माणसं ऐकताना किंवा बोलताना काम करतात. एक असतो वकील. वकिलाचं काम काय असतं, समोरच्याचा मुद्दा खोडून काढायचा. त्याने ऐकलं की तो मुद्दा खोडून काढतो. दुसरा असतो न्यायाधीश, तो गिल्टी, शिक्षा ठोकवतो. खाल्ले ना आंबे वाढलेले सुद्धा भोगरा. आणि दुसरा असतो पोलीस, काय लग्नाला गेला होता वाटतं, हो डॉक्टर तुम्हाला त्याचं नाही शिकायचं. तर हे 3 जण ज्यावेळेला ऐकतात किंवा बोलतात त्यावेळेला मग ते हेल्थकेअर नाही राहत. मी माझ्या पेशंटला सांगतो, तुमच्यातला वकील आहे, माझ्यातलं वकील ऐकायला बोलायला लागले की हे कोर्टरूम होईल मला आवडतं. हे बघा एवढं सांगूनही साखर खाताय. मग ते म्हणाला काय तुम्ही असं सांगितलंय का खाऊ नये म्हणून, तुम्ही कधी सांगितलं होतं खाऊच नका म्हणून, तुम्ही खाऊ नका म्हणले च म्हणले नव्हते. वकील येतो मोसंबीच्या साली सकट आपल्या बिया सकट हात पेटायचा नाही का. वकिलांचं डेफिनेशन मध्ये सगळं हे असतं ना, ह्याच्यामुळे मी बोलू शकतोय. अशा पद्धतीने ते केलं जातं. उत्तम. मग आता हे हेल्थकेअर प्रॉक्सी किंवा डिसिजन कोण घेतात, काही लोक म्हणतात मुलांना काय करायचं होते, मी नाही डोक्याला ताण करतो, काय फरक पडतो त्यांना, काय आहे काय नाही. पण सगळ्यात चांगलं आपण स्वतः निर्णय घ्यावा. ही शुड टेक आवर ओन डिसिजन. आणि मला वाटतं तुम्हाला वकिलांचं खूप मोठं काम आहे याच्यामध्ये की तुम्ही लोकांना मोटिवेट करा, हे लिव्हिंग विल करायला मोटिवेट करा. पुढचं करू. आता ह्याच्यामध्ये काय बॅरियर्स आहेत, ही अडथळ्याची शरद आहे. सगळ्यात मोठा अडथळा कोणाचा आहे? पहिला अडथळा जो असतो तो डॉक्टरांचं आकलन. आता कुठल्याही आजारामध्ये जर तुम्ही एखाद्या डॉक्टरला प्रश्न विचारला, डॉक्टर मिराकल्स नाही होत का? मिराकल्स नाही होत, होतात ना मिराकल्स, मग राहू द्या मिराकल दिले पाहिजे. त्यामुळे ते डॉक्टर आणि ती सिस्टर फ्रॉम कॅलिफोर्निया इतकी आमच्या डोक्याला इतकी भीती वाटते तिची आणि कोर्टाची की नको बाबा. म्हणून हॉस्पिटल ऑफिंग असतं, ते एअर ॲम्ब्युलन्स मधून नेतात इकडून तिकडे, कारण नोबडी वॉन्ट्स टू टेक रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी. उद्या केस केली तर काय? त्याच्यानंतरचा हल्ल काय असतो तर आपल्याकडं कुटुंबाचा आकलन. मी वडिलांसाठी सगळं केलं, मग त्यांना त्रास होतो ते नाही बघितलं, पण मी सगळं केलं कारण लोक काय म्हणते. मी बऱ्याच वेळेला पेशंट होतो, त्या 4 लोकांना घेऊन यायचे, मी समजत नव्हते. आतापर्यंत काय कोणी आणलं नाही ते 4 लोकांना, पण 4 लोक काय म्हणतील ते मी ऐकायला मिळते. त्याच्यानंतर असतं सामाजिक धार्मिक, हे जे सगळे आहे ना. आता देहदानामध्ये वगैरे सुद्धा ना काय तुम्ही लिहून ठेवू शकता, नंतर क्वालिटी काही नाही. असे पण अनुभव आहेत, म्हणजे त्यांनी काही लिहू दे, असं नाही करायचं, आपल्याला आपल्या पद्धतीने करायचं. मेडिकल कॉलेजमध्ये ते म्हणतात आम्ही संस्कार करायला असा बोर्ड काढून देतो, त्याच्यावर सगळे संस्कार कारण डेथ इज नॉट अन इव्हेंट, त्याच्यामध्ये कम्प्लिशन खूप लागतं. आणि हे सगळे रिच्युअल सगळ्या ह्याच्यामध्ये जे काही सांगितलेले आहेत ना, ते त्या बिहेवियरमधून बाहेर येण्यासाठी सांगितलेले रिच्युअल्स आहेत. गेलेल्या व्यक्तीचं दुःख कधी कमी होत नसतं, त्याच्या भोवती आपण उभं करत असतो. पर्टिक्युलरली व्हेन यू लूज युअर स्पाउस, याचं दुःख छोटं होत नाही. काळ हे औषध आहे, कमानी या टाईम विल टेक इट्स ओन कोर्स, बरं वाटत असं नसतं. म्हणून हे रिच्युअल्स असतात. दरवर्षी सुद्धा जे काय करतात ना, त्याच्यामध्ये कम्प्लिशन असतं. त्याला हसण्यासारखं काही नाही आहे, तुम्हाला पटत नाही नका करू, पण जे करतात त्यांना कळून द्या. म्हणून हे सामाजिक हे सुद्धा खूप महत्त्वाचं त्याच्यामध्ये असतं. आणि कायद्याची स्थिती काय माहीत नाही, त्यामुळे मग ते लोक घाबरतात, कायदा आला की घाबरतात. आणि लोक हॉस्पिटल सांगतात की आता जर व्हेंटिलेटर लावलं काढायचं असेल तर तुम्हाला हायकोर्टातून परवानगी आणावी लागेल. मग तो मुलगा विचारतो तो बापरे आता बाबांपाशी बसू का हायकोर्टात? withdrawal is not possible. Withholding is possible. Because it's my autonomy. I told you. मला नको. So I always tell you. Withhold करणं इतकं सोपं आहे. Just write it. Withdraw करणं खूप अवघड आहे. Once you put it, withdrawal is difficult. आता सुप्रीम कोर्टाने सोपं केलं आहे. एक डॉक्टरचं पॅनल बसवायचं आणि त्यांनी निर्णय घ्यायचा. पण सगळ्यात चांगलं withholdच करायचं. काय 4-5 दिवस लागून काय होणार, उलट पेन होणार आहे. काय माहिती का, नॅचरल डेथ जो येतो की नाही त्याच्यामध्ये कसं असतं माहिती का, आपण खूप दिवस गावाला जायचं असलं आपल्याला, काय करतो आपण घराचं काय करतो, एक खोली बंद करतो, लाईट बंद करतो. तसं एक सिस्टीम डाऊन व्हायला की मग भूक लागत नाही, तर मग नळी टाका, मग अमुक होत नाही अमुक करा. मग असं करता करता बाहेरचा जो लाईट असतो त्या छोटा लाईट नव्हते रे तो असतो, म्हणून तो छोटा लाईट काही वेळ चालू राहतो, श्वास थोडा थोडा. मग आता हे एक बंद करायला परत उघडायचं काहीतरी करायचं, परत उघडायचं काहीतरी करायचं, आणि त्याच्यामुळे तर जाण्याला त्रास होतो. आता मी डिसेंबर महिन्यामध्ये त्रिवेंद्रला होतो या ट्रेनिंगसाठी स्पॅन्टिकेटच्या. एक कॉल होता की त्यांनी 2-3 दिवस झाले काही खाल्लं नाही तर नळी टाकायची का, त्याने त्यांना शक्ती येईल. ते असे फेल झालेले होते, आजीबाई होत्या फेल झालेले होते अगदी, आणि त्यामुळे नळी टाकायची. आणि त्यांना सांगितलं की हा प्रोसेस सुरू झालेला आहे केकचा, आता वेळ नाही सांगताय, कारण तरी तो भाऊ असला तरी एवढा रेग्युलर बोलत नाही. देहांचा हे केलेलं आहे, काय म्हणतात, ब्लॉक केलेला आहे नंबर. त्यामुळे प्रत्येक पेशंट बद्दल बोलता येत नाही त्याच्याशी, म्हणजे ब्लॉक कमी करायला, पण भाऊ असला तरी. पण मग सांगतो आम्ही की साधारण कळतं आम्हाला 90% ऑफ नॅचरल डेथ्स दे वी कॅन प्रेडिक्ट. तर म्हटलं आता ते इट्स इन द प्रोसेस ऑफ डायिंग. घरी टाकणं वगैरे त्रास नाही, बॉडी शटिंग ऑफ. सो ॲक्सेप्ट इट. छान बसा बाजूला, गप्पा मारा, त्यांना ऐकायला येत तरी मारा. आणि कमीत कमी तुम्ही माझ्यासाठी किती प्रेम केलं माझ्यावर तेवढंच बोला त्यांना. असं नाही होत का किती वाईट माणूस असू दे, कधीतरी त्याने प्रेम केलं असं नाही का. आपल्या कुटुंबातला कुणी पण असू दे, काका असू दे, मामा असू दे, आजोबा असू दे, किती तो कडक असला काय असला, कधीतरी आपल्याला प्रेम केलं असं तेवढंच बोलत. That is completion. I love you. Forgive me. I forgive you. Goodbye. So that's palliative care. ठीक आहे. एंड ऑफ लाईफ आणि ते एकच आहे का? नाही, पॅलिएटिव्ह केअर खूप आधी सुरू होती. एंड ऑफ लाईफ इज एंड ऑफ लाईफ. तर बऱ्याच वेळेला सिनॉनिमस वापरलं जातं. आता एक महत्वाची गोष्ट मला सांगायची. नेक्स्ट, या शब्दाबद्दल काय वाटतं तुम्हाला? राईट्स ऑफ डाईंग हे सिमॅन्टिक्स आहे का? नीड्स ऑफ डाईंग का राईट्स ऑफ डाईंग? तुम्ही वकिलात म्हणून मी राईट्स शब्द दिला आहे. दीज आर नीड्स, ह्युमन नीड्स. त्याच्यात महत्वाचं काय? राईट टू बी ट्रीटेड ॲज अ लिव्हिंग ह्युमन बीइंग. नुसते प्रयोग केले वगैरे नको, त्या पद्धतीने केलेलं आणि होपफुलनेस ठेवला पाहिजे आपल्या बोलण्यामध्ये, वागण्यामध्ये. सो दीज आर आवर राईट्स ऑफ द डाईंग. नेक्स्ट प्लीज. नेक्स्ट प्लीज. फाईन. Right to have all questions answered honestly and freely. The right for continuing medical care even though the goals may change from cure to comfort. आपल्याकडे सांगतच नाही कॅन्सर झाल्यावर. डॉक्टर सांगणार आणि मग त्यांना कम्प्लीट करायचं राहून जातं ना, कळतच नाही, एकदम जातं. असं कशाला? तो डिपार्चर आहे ना, गाडीची वेळ गाडी फॉर्म व्यवस्थित तुम्ही द्या, कळून द्या त्यांना. हो, स्पष्ट सगळं बोलावं. पण आपल्याकडे म्हणतात सांगू नका, त्याला आम्ही कॉलेजच म्हणतो. आणि बाहेर उलट आहे, बाहेर डॉक्टरनी जर का नातेवाईकाला सांगितलं तर तो डॉक्टरवर केस करतो. तुम्ही मला दुसऱ्या ठिकाणी कसं पाहिजे, मला काय करायचं. आपल्याकडे ती भीती वाटते आम्हाला की अरे बापरे आपण सांगितलं तर तो केस करायचा. सो दॅट इज व्हेरी इम्पॉर्टंट. कन्फ्युजन करू नये. अँड राईट टू अंडरस्टँड द प्रोसेस ऑफ डेथ. कंप्लीट करता संपलं मला वाटतं. येस, राईट टू डाय and right to expect that sanctity of the body will be respected even after death. Okay, fine. So thank you. थोडा I led with this prayer. आपल्याकडचे आधीच असते, आपल्याकडे ती प्रार्थना आहे ना, मृत्यूबद्दलची प्रार्थना आहे. Because we don't say death, we say departure. We are going to come back again. तर आपल्याकडे तो मंत्र पण म्हणतो आपण, काही कमी जाब आहे सुगंधी पुष्टीवर्धन पूर्वार ते पान पिकलेलं पान नाही का, हळूहळू गळून पडतं ना, झाडाला त्रास ना त्या पानाला त्रास. तसा मृत्यू असतो. मृत्यू काही वाईट नसतो. नाही, मला अनुभवही आहे, तुम्ही माझ्या बाहेर बघायला. पण मृत्यू खूप पेनफुल पण नसतो. Murti is a transition. It's a departure. So, I would like to thank you for the time and listening that you have given to me. It was all yours. Still, you gave it to me very generously. Hello. बाय. झालं बघून रील्स बघून झाले. ओके, थँक्यू मॅम, तुम्ही मला ही संधी दिली मला बोलायची. वकिलांसोबत बोलायची पहिलीच वेळ होती, त्यामुळे So any questions, any doubts if you have?
सांगितलं त्याचं पेशंट आपल्याकडे सांगत नाही, त्याला काही आपल्याकडे कसं आहे कॅन्सर आहे तर अगोदरच तो हॉस्पिटल होतो आणि त्यानंतर मग तो त्याची जी जगण्याची उमेद सोडून देतो. तर तुमच्या हिशोबाने असं कधी सांगितलं पाहिजे किंवा सांगितलं पाहिजे की नाही?
सांगितलं पाहिजे दोन गोष्टींसाठी. नाही, डायग्नोसिसचा स्टेज मी ॲक्च्युली खरं सांगतो तुम्हाला, मला जास्त कशाला बोलायला आवडतं माहिती का, आरोग्य संवर्धनावरती, हेल्थ प्रमोशन, बिकॉज युअर जनरेशन नीड्स दॅट. तर हे केव्हा सांगितलं पाहिजे, तर आम्ही असं म्हणतो की अर्ली डायग्नोसिस अँड राईट ट्रीटमेंट. अर्ली डायग्नोसिस केव्हा शक्य होईल, ज्या वेळेला तुम्ही ठराविक वयामध्ये ठराविक जे कॅन्सर्स आहेत त्याच्यासाठी तपासण्या करा. यू विल नॉट निग्लेक्ट टुवर्ड्स युअर सिम्पटम्स. युअर बॉडी गिव्स यू सिग्नल्स, आणि तुम्ही जरी सांगितलं नाही ना तरी त्या माणसाला त्याचा एक्सपिरियन्स असतो ना, माझ्या बॉडीत काय होतं, तो म्हणतो हे बरे मला खोटं बोलतात, मला माहिती मला काय झालं.
कोरोनाच्या वेळेस पण भरपूर लोकांना कोरोना झाल्यामुळे जास्त करून
नाही, करोना आजारच तसा की कोॲग्युलोपॅथी होती, दॅट वॉज व्हेरी, खूप वेगळ्या प्रकारचा तो आजार आहे, म्हणजे अजूनही काही कोरोना पूर्ण गेलेला नाही आहे. सो कॅन्सरच्या पेशंट यासाठी सांगावं की बऱ्याच वेळेला ते ॲक्टिव्हली ट्रीटमेंट करतात, ट्रीटमेंट कंप्लायन्स करतात.
सर माझं पर्सनल एक्सपिरियन्स आहे सर, आईला कॅन्सर होता आणि त्यांना आम्ही सांगितलं नाही, त्या 2 वर्ष फक्त आम्ही केअर केली, त्यांचं ऑपरेशन झालं आणि ते नीट झालं. त्यांना आजही असं वाटतं की पोटात काहीतरी त्रास होता, तो आम्ही घरगुती वगैरे
त्यांना शब्द नाही तो वापरला तुम्ही, पण त्यांना त्रास होतच होता की नाही. तर ते जर सांगितलं की बाबा तुला पोटामध्ये इन्फेक्शन आहे की किंवा तुला पोटामध्ये आहे, आपण त्याचं ऑपरेशन करूया, त्याच्यानंतर तुला या गोळ्या घ्यायच्या, तर खूप सोपं होतं. रेडिओथेरपी लागली तर खूप सोपं होतं. नाहीतर ते रेजिस्ट करतात, घेत नाही ट्रीटमेंट. तुम्ही बघितलं का त्या फिल्ममध्ये, त्याने सगळ्या गोळ्या वेळा कापून गेल्या जातं त्या बेलगाडीला, घेत नाही. डिप्रेशन खूप येतं आजारी माणसावर, तुमच्या वयातलं नाही, म्हणजे आजारी माणसाला. सो आमचं शास्त्र असं सांगतं की सांगावं, डॉक्टरने सांगावं, आमच्याकडे प्रोटोकॉल्स आहेत त्याचे, स्पाईक प्रोटोकॉल, नर्स प्रोटोकॉल, कसं सांगायचं पेशंटला, काय करायचं. हां, कॅन्सर असं ते सांगतं ना. अरे आज पहिल्या स्टेजला झाला कॅन्सर तर तो 100 कितीतरी कॅन्सर आता पूर्ण बरं होत आहे, कितीतरी कॅन्सर पूर्ण बरं. तुम्ही तर दुसऱ्या आजार बरे वाटतात. मला त्याला रोड ट्रॅफिक ॲक्सिडेंटवाल्या पेशंटची जास्त भीती वाटते कॅन्सर. सो कल्युजन कधीच सुरू नाही. ते नाही का नाही बोल आणि नाही बोल काय नसला हात का काय करतो सो इट इज ऑलवेज बेटर बिकॉज मी स्वतःची काळजी जास्त चांगली, त्यामुळे कल्युजन असू नये, लग्न घेऊ नये. आणि पर्टिक्युलरली एंड ऑफ लाईफला त्याला उलट विचारावं काय तुझं जायचं का, कुणाला बोलवायचं का, आत्याला बोलवू का, आत्या म्हणून तुझी बरेच दिवस झाले भाऊ भेटला येऊ का, बोलवा. फरक पडतो ना शेवटी. आपण माणसं काय दुसरं सोशलायझेशन लागतं ना आपल्याला. सो इट इज ऑलवेज बेटर. काय तुमची इच्छा आहे, काय खायला तुम्ही. एका पॅलिटिव्हच्या एका मुलाची एका माणसाची अशी खूप इच्छा होती एक्झाम्पल. काय इच्छा होती तर पाऊस असावा आणि मी भजे खात असावं. मग त्यांनी काय केलं, त्या सिनेमावाल्यांना बोलवलं, पाऊस पाडला आणि त्याला भजे खायला दिले. काही वेळाने गेलं. एक कॅन्सरचा मुलगा होता, त्याला खूप चॉकलेट घ्यायची इच्छा होती पण घरी खाऊ देत नव्हतं कारण तुला कॅन्सर होतं. त्यांना माहिती होतं कॅन्सर, त्याला माहिती नव्हतं, त्याला कळलं पण नसतं काय असलं शब्द सांगितलं तरी त्याला काही फरक पडला नसतं. आम्ही आता पेशंट छोट्या मुलाला निमोनिया झाला तर आईला त्रास होतो, ते खेळत राहतो तरी ऐकतो, अजून तर काही तसं तर काही नाही. असं तर काही नाही ना, अधिकाराचा आपल्या असं बोलतात. ते मुलं खेळत असतात. तसं त्याला चॉकलेट खायचं होतं, तर त्याला आणून दिलं चॉकलेट, खाल्लं गेलं. बिकॉज डॉक्टर्स नो किती महत्वाचं आहे. तो सांगणं माझ्या मते खूप महत्वाचं आहे. आजाराबद्दल इग्नोरन्स जो आहे ना, तो आपल्याकडं मिडल क्लासला त्रास आहे. मला ऑप्शन्स मिळू शकतात, पॉझिटिव्ह पण होऊ शकतं. ओके ठीक आहे, त्याला काय आता ते आपले काय नाव त्यांचं ते शास्त्रज्ञ होऊन गेले ते ह्याच्या खाली पूर्ण हे गेले एक्सेप्ट फॉर सम मायनर फिजिकल प्रॉब्लेम तरी मायनर फिजिकल प्रॉब्लेम आपल्याला मोठा आपण so it is how you take it. But it's a good question, it is always asked question. Anybody? No question? Not interest?
आपल्या धार्मिक आधारामध्ये टीकामध्ये सांख्य योगमध्ये पण रिलेटिव्ह केसचं एक उदाहरण मी सांगू इच्छितो. पितामह भीष्मला जेव्हा बाणाची शय्या भेटली आणि ते त्यांना इच्छा मृत्यूचं वरदान होतं, तेव्हा बरेच पांडवांचे ग्रुपचे म्हणाले की आपण त्यांना जाऊन भेटून नाही. आपण सहदेवने सांगितलं, तेव्हा प्रभू श्रीकृष्णाने सांगितलं होतं का आपलं कर्तव्य त्यांना जाऊन भेटणं जे होतं ते धार्मिक युद्ध झालं, पण आपलं कर्तव्य त्यांना जाऊन भेटणं, त्यांच्याकडून आपण क्षमा मागणं किंवा त्यांनी काय चुका केल्या त्यांना एक वेळ देण्यासाठी का त्यांनाही बोलायला आपल्याला वेळ द्यावा लागेल. सो इट इज त्यावेळेस ते गेले, सगळ्यांनी आपसात आपलं बोलले. असं रिलेटिव्ह केअरचा एक एक्सपिरियन्स आहे. जेव्हा माझे वडील गेले तेव्हा माझ्या आजीने जसं सांगितलेलं होतं का ज्या कोणासोबत जर गैरसमज असेल त्यांच्याशी फोनवर बोलायला लावा किंवा आपसातलं काही असेल कोणाचं पैशाचं देवाणघेवाण तर ते सुद्धा आपण एकदा कम्युनिकेट करण्याचा प्रयत्न करावा. आणि असा प्रसंग आपल्याला येईल का आपल्या कोणासोबत भांडण झालं असेल पण आपल्याला माहिती तो माणूस आता त्याच्याकडे वेळ नाही, कमीत कमी त्यांना जाऊन जर आपण आपला गैरसमज मिटवला तर हा एक रिलेटिव्ह केअरचा फार मोठा विभाग.
आय लव्ह यू, फॉरगिव्ह मी,
येस येस, त्याच्यावरूनच हे मला आठवतं.
खूप थँक्यू. मला माहिती असेल मला आधार फॉरगिव्ह नाही तर सगळं राहून जातं. नहीं ना कोणाला प्रश्न? हां,
life is only conversation, good and bad. So yes, healing her. Now my mother 4 weeks before she has gone angioplasty and now she wants to eat fried everything. So how should I stop her?
You take the option. You always say खाऊ नको वगैरे. त्या डायटिशियनने सांगितल्याप्रमाणे आपल्याला खाता येईल एवढं. आपल्यातला वकील किंवा तो पोलीस हे करायला लागतो ना, न्यायाधीश तू अशीच नाही पहिल्यापासून. आता पहिल्यापासून मी तुला ओळखतो का तिचे वडील तुला ओळखतो? हां, आपल्याकडे नातं कुणाचंच ऑसम नाही आहे. ऑसम रिलेशनशिप का नाही? मला मोठ्या भावाशी बोलायचं तर माझ्यातला वकील न्यायाधीश पोलीस म्हणतो मी बघतो लहानपणापासून असाच करतो. अरे आत्ता कशाला, आत्ता तुला जे आहे त्या बिग स्टेटमध्ये लहान भावाच्या आज्ञाधारक लहान भाऊ आणि बघ त्याच्याशी मग बघ तो प्रेम करतो मी. हे सगळीकडे तुम्हाला फॉर्म भरून थोडी घेता येतात की मी प्रेम करेल, मी अमुक करेल, मी ऐकून घेईल, आपल्याला आधी सह्या कर्म बोलतो. म्हणून कॉन्व्हर्सेशन आर व्हेरी इम्पॉर्टंट. इतर हिलिंग वाटत आमच्या डॉक्टरांचं सुद्धा नाही का, तुम्ही म्हणता एखादा डॉक्टर खूप गोरमट बोलतात, खूप हार्श आहे, यू टेक दॅट कॉन्व्हर्सेशन इन अ व्हेरी हर्टिंग वे. ते फॅक्ट सांगत असतात. मला याच्यावरून आठवलं की एक खूप फेमस ENT सर्जन मुंबईला होते. त्यांच्याकडे लेट स्टेज कॅन्सरचे पेशंट बाहेरच्या देशात न्यायचे. बाबा असा इतक्या लेट स्टेजचं ऑपरेशन करायचं आम्हाला कुणाला एक्सपिरियन्स नाही. तर ते एक दिवस मुंबई विमानतळावरती चालले होते. तर त्याला एक व्यक्तीने थांबवलं. म्हणजे डॉक्टर तुम्ही मला ओळखत नसेल म्हणे. मी मला तुम्हाला एक गोष्ट सांगायची म्हणे. तुम्ही देव नाही आहे. तुम्ही लोकांना सांगा का इतके दिवस राहिले इतके दिवस राहिले. मला म्हणजे तुम्ही सांगितलं होतं 2 वर्षापूर्वी की 6 महिने राहिले. सो इट बिकम हार्ड थिंग. आता त्यांनी काय सांगितलं होतं तर बाबा अभ्यास आहे जगातला सगळ्या स्टडीज कॅन्सरची हे असती एक काम त्याला पूर्ण ठेवलेली असते तर त्याच्याचं मेटा अनालिसिस वगैरे सगळे करून की बाबा कोणता कॅन्सर कुठल्या स्टेजला झाला किती दिवस राहतात काय पण त्याला सोडली फॅक्ट सगळ्यात महत्त्वाचं म्हणजे सगळ्यात महत्त्वाचं इज युअर जीन्स. त्यामुळं कधीही स्वतःच्या जीन्सला कमी समजू नका. आई वडिलांना ऍक्सेप्ट करा. कारण 50% आई 50% बाबा. आपलं काही नसतं. माझी नात मला विचारते तुम्ही पिझ्झा का नाही खात. तुला म्हणतो माझी आजी नव्हती खात कारण वडिलांची आजी खाते की आपल्याला कसं नाही. म्हणला तुझ्या नातवंडांना पचेल कारण तू पिझ्झा खाते. नाही खात. सो मेनी थिंग्स डिपेंड ऑन दॅट. थैंक यू.
क्या ग्राउंड्स पे हम डिसीजन ले सकते हैं कि वेंटिलेटर और रिसाइड ट्रीटमेंट लगानी चाहिए इफ द एज इज लाइक मिडिल एज और diseases are there, comorbidities are there. So doctors they give us a consent form or something that the patient is critical. But हम accept नहीं कर पाते कि क्या outcomes करेंगे. So हमने क्या फैक्टर पर डिसाइड करना चाहिए फैमिली मेंबर्स कि कंसेंट देना चाहिए फॉर द ट्रीटमेंट के लिए या नहीं देना चाहिए.
You should have a very open discussion with the doctor. The treatment, the
If you
treating
don't have
team.
much time for
नहीं,
that.
the treating team.
Yes.
See, ventilator की position ऐसा never comes in emergency unless until there was some accident. You know, when accident RT है, अगर वो मसल्स को कुछ हो गया है तो without asking you have to put on ventilator because ABC, airway breathing circulation, we first see these things first. Now, if there are comorbidities, it will take some time. तो उस वक्त आपको ना बहुत ओपन डिस्कशन करना चाहिए. और वो भी क्या करना चाहिए तो what are the pros and cons. अगर नहीं लगाए तो क्या होगा, लगाए तो क्या होगा. You know what happens? We go in that different mode. I tell my patients, तुला पत्नी म्हणून विचार कर, तुला बाबा म्हणून विचार कर. तो असं व्यक्ती म्हणून नको विचार करू. माझ्या मुलाला काय होतं तो बाबा म्हणून विचार कर. आमच्या तुम्ही आम्हाला गेलं तर सगळं बाजूला ठेवतात त्या. बिकॉज युअर गोल इज युअर सनसेट. कोमॉर्बिडिटीज मध्ये वी ऑलवेज से की डिजीज वी हैव नो फिंगर्स आर क्रॉस्ड. कारण कोमॉर्बिडिटीज मीन्स most of the systems are involved. But usually we say young person dengue ECMO machine is a miracle for dengue patients. And usually these infections occur in young people. So ICUs are best for young people, not for a person with 80 years, 85 years. Thank you. Sorry ma'am, मैं थोड़ा जास्त वेळ घेतला. Sorry ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Your insights have deepened our understanding of palliative care. Your thoughts beautifully highlighted how palliative care is not only about treatment, but about dignity, compassion, and human health care. We truly appreciate your time and valuable guidance. Thank you. Now, with that, we move forward to the paper presentation segment. Each presenter will be allotted 7 minutes for presentation. I request all the presenters to adhere to the allotted time. The participants will get a starting bell, and after the completion of 6 minutes, they will receive a single warning bell. After the completion of 7 minutes, they will get a double bell. I would like to call upon our presenters to share their research and perspective on this important theme. Our first presenter is Dr. Nalini Ambar.
the participants are requested to don't go outside. The attendance sheet, the sequence attendance sheet is being circulated there. With your name, you have to signature in front of your name. So please ensure that you are attending the session one. You have to signature the attendance in the session one also. And inauguration session attendance is also provided. So you have to ensure that signature is being done in inauguration session attendance sheet also. Okay.
चालू आहे काही लोकांच्या समोरच झालं एकदा एकदा समोर झालं बरेच समोर झाले
I request Manikchand to please proceed with the presentation. No, you are not audible. Yes, ma'am. Sorry, ma'am, but again your mic is off.
Hello.
Yes, ma'am.
आता आलं याच्या अंमल आपण घेऊ व्यवस्थित कसं आहे
Our lives today are technology developments. With emails, e-commerce, e-trade, e-contract, and many more, so on and so forth, including e-health. And this is the e-way of living life. Having said this, I will now begin with my presentation on digital healthcare system and right to health, a critical study on law and policy in India. So basically, I will talk about digital health concept, right to health, challenges about right to health in India. Also, I will talk about intersection between right to health and digital healthcare system. What are the challenges in digital healthcare system? And lastly, I will also talk about the regulatory and framework of digital healthcare system, challenges in its attainment, and then conclude with certain suggestions. So as we know, integration of information technology and healthcare has a potential in transforming healthcare system in India and attaining right to health, which has been recognized as a fundamental right under Article 21 by the Apex Court of India. However, attainment of right has always lacks the effective delivery because healthcare system in India is having lot of challenges like huge population, quality of care, accessibility, which can be addressed by promoting the digital healthcare system. And hence, this paper talks about intersection between the digital healthcare system and attainment of right to health, regulatory framework, and challenges in realization of right to health through the digital healthcare system. So what is digital healthcare system basically? So digital health in layman's language refers to the use of digital technology to databases and data and digital tools to improve the healthcare services with the objective of providing the or promoting the healthy lives and well-being of all. World Health Organization in its report on global strategy on digital health defined digital health as the field of knowledge and practice associated with the development and use of digital technologies to improve health. So digital healthcare system include use of technology in the form of digital health apps, e-pharmacies, telemedicine platforms, digital healthcare software, digital pathologies, AI-based diagnosis tools, and many more. So basically, India has already started with digitalization in healthcare system, and we also find that there is an national digital health ecosystem, that is a health platform for citizens. Also, we have Ayushman Bharat Digital Mission, which is a big initiative to remove the gaps between the health infrastructure, research, surveillance-based health ID of healthcare service providers, patients as well. We also have an e-sanjeevani platform. Also, everyone is aware that we had also need to download one Arogya Setu app during COVID days. So we are moving towards digitalization in healthcare system. So when it comes to right to health, as we know, right to health is a human right as well as it is a fundamental right. It is recognized as a human right under Article 25 of UDHR, also Article 12 of International Covenant on Economic, Social and Cultural Rights. And it put obligation on the states to recognize right to health and also to take steps towards attainment of it. And when it comes to health, health is a very broad concept. It is not restricted to our physical health, but in fact it encompasses within its scope the physical, social and mental well-being as described by World Health Organization. In India, Article 21 of Indian Constitution as it interpreted by the judiciary in judicial decisions includes right to health as a fundamental right. Various directive principles of state policy like Article 79E, F, 41, 42 also put obligation on the state for the development of children and human well-being, which includes right to health also. So basically, even though right to health is recognized as a fundamental right, there are many challenges in its attainment. So first and foremost challenge in its attainment is inadequate health infrastructure, inadequate health professionals, accessibility to healthcare facilities, and in my paper I have also provided the data, and only to mention a few, I will mention a data given by Rural Health Statistics, which is published by Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, year 21-22. There the government itself accepted that there is a significant gap in the infrastructure providing specialized care at the community healthcare center. So there is many aspects which are being revealed herein, including the lacunas in the whole healthcare professionals and all. Apart from these challenges, there is a high cost of healthcare services in the private sector, poor conditions of public healthcare facilities, malnourishment issues. So these hurdles are there in the realization of right to health, and we need to put a question: are we really ready to have this particular right to health as a fundamental right? Because when it is a fundamental right, it puts state obligation that we should provide all the facilities as well. So for that purpose, digital healthcare system may help to remove many of these particular gaps in terms of accessibility, in terms of availability and quality of healthcare services. So it is also being recognized by WHO as one of the means to make the healthcare service more accessible. So basically, when we talk about intersection between right to health and digital healthcare system facilitate the access to the healthcare service, also help the healthcare service providers
Also, to reach out to the remote and vulnerable population, communication and convenience are the key features of the digital healthcare platforms, and it is convenient for the doctors and patients also. So basically, digital health ecosystem enable better health surveillance, data collection and analysis also. So we will have a data availability, transparency of data. So this is what is the, and hence when it comes to accessibility, it will definitely help to reach out to the vulnerable section. NITI Aayog also has proposed the digital health blueprint for that purpose, wherein they have established a framework for a future health system that aim to create a framework of national digital health ecosystem. However, this even though and hence it is a very useful tool for attainment of right to health, but it is not free from challenges. So the next part of my discussion is challenges in effective implementation of digital health system. So I have a report which is published by one of the private
Excuse me,
foundations
ma'am.
of digital healthcare system.
Your time has been up now, so can we please conclude this?
So I have a report which says that if digital healthcare system, even though helpful in the attainment of right to health, weak governance, it will have an impact on its reach or its effectiveness, and hence that particular gap need to eliminated. As far as India is concerned, that gap exists because there are multiple apps, there are multiple regulatory authorities. Also in India, there is a gap in the equitable access to the digital healthcare system. And from that purpose, I have concluded my chapter. I concluded my paper by saying that even though India is taking a very positive steps towards attainment of national digital health mission, we have to look for a uniform legislation and regulatory framework. We need to build a digital infrastructure, and lastly, look into the legal and ethical issues like data privacy. Thank you.
Thank you. I would like to clarify that all these presenters are presenting on theorizing the right to health jurisprudential exploration in India. Our next presenter is Sonia Chillal.
पहिले म्हणजे वैद्यसरांच्या नाही प्रेझेंट असं हेच पाहिजे ठीक आहे चला
members, participants and students. I am Sonia Chindargi, presently working as advocate at Bombay High Court bench at Aurangabad. Firstly, I express sincere gratitude for providing the opportunity to present out my topic, access to healthcare, defining social skill. Before understanding what is the access to healthcare, we will just analyze the recent case law, Dr. Jaya Thakur versus Government of India, which is specifically deals about how menstrual hygiene practices to be implemented more effectively. Then it also deals about the dissemination of social awareness about menstrual health. Then to provide free sanitary napkins and adequate sanitation through menstrual schemes. Then it also provides to about how to implement the sanitary napkin disposal in an efficient manner. Further, we are trying to analyze which are all the menstrual schemes that are implemented specifically in the Maharashtra state, and which was focused in this judgment, Dr. Jaya Thakur versus Government of India, and how it has been implemented more effectively with the various directions has been followed with the menstrual schemes, which are, that is, Samagra Shiksha School Adoption Scheme, that wherein installation of sanitary napkin vending machine are to be installed. Again, how that could be more effective, certain more points have been focused in this case law. Then it also deals about the CSR contribution towards the menstrual hygiene management materials and construction of toilets. Further, it also says about the National Health Mission Project, Rashtriya Kishore Swasthya Karyakram, which is again specifically points out the adolescent-friendly health clinics about the menstrual hygiene management. It also says about the sanitary napkin awareness, which is to be conducted at the school level, community level, and even through the Doordarshan channels on this Swayam platform or any other platform which can be accessed through the digital sources. Further, certain menstrual hygiene practices which are to be implemented in more effective manner for disposal of sanitary napkins. The slide shows a little in more effective manner which must be followed. Then we are trying to analyze what should be the further research steps taken to overcome the main point, which was about the menstruation, which was becoming a barrier to the right to access education. So certain points which has to be focused through this judgment, that is through the case mapping. We are trying to analyze that how many women are using sanitary napkins, how many are having access to water, sanitation and hygiene. That is, we can try to find out through the doctrinal research, and more particularly we can use the quantitative survey type of research. In that, ordinal research can be used, wherein yes or no questions can be used, certain questions which in the percentage research value can be defined. Though I am not more aware about the actual research steps, but I have tried to find out what exactly the problem can be resolved. That is, menstrual, there's a barrier to the right to access education, that wherein how the students or female girls especially, that they must be aware about the menstruation, awareness, menstrual health, and they should not be deprived from their education. And not only the girl students, but the boys in the schools and even in the many a time in the colleges, they are not aware about the menstrual health, and that must be again analyzed through the social surveys and various other factors which must be followed through the research. Further, I would now conclude here with a very interesting point here, which is not only speaks about the social economic right in the preamble, but also towards the achieving the goal of social justice. Now, how exactly social justice. It is not only about the what we always read about the access to social justice through the constitution or the any other special rights which are like right to health, but it is also about asking that whether or maybe whether there are there is social awareness, whether there is any effort taken for the social awareness in the country India, which is a developing country, where the access to the not only education but access to the municipal health, social awareness, which is one of the most important factor that has to be considered, and this is specifically mentioned through the Mohini Jain versus State of Karnataka. And with that, a suggestive measure is that healthcare awareness is mandatory among citizens to achieve goals imbibed in the preamble and social justice of the Indian Constitution. Just one more point I would like to add here, that the theme of the World Health Day in the upcoming months, that is I think 7th of April 2026, that in 2026 theme is that healthy beginnings and hopeful future. So I aptly find out that this menstrual hygiene practices will definitely fulfill the theme of this year's World Health Day, that is healthy beginnings and hopeful future. So with that I conclude here. Thank you once again to all the organizers, the Professor Kotapalle ma'am and all my teachers, who were Shampa ma'am also teach me in my college when I was doing LLB in this college. And then Sheetal Bharate ma'am, Anju Singh ma'am, she has also taught me in LLM. Then thank you Nore sir, with all my heartfelt wishes. I wish all the participants for the best. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Our next presenter is Sakshi Babu, Miss Sakshi Babu.
साक्षी काय प्रॉब्लेम सुरू करा ना तुझं.
Imagine a woman standing outside the government hospital. She has been waiting for the hours. She is poor. She cannot afford the private treatment. She cannot afford the private treatment. She is just asking for the dignity and the health. And here the question of my topic gets its relevance. That there is a question that is the healthcare is merely a service or a fundamental right? Is it is just for the survival is enough, or does the constitution guarantees some nothing deeper than that. So, a very glad afternoon to one and all. I, Sakshi Sangeeta Rahul Babu, presenting my research paper on a topic, Human Rights, Health and Ethics, a jurisprudential inquiry into the right to dignified life. Because as we have well versed with the thought that dignity must move from the constitutional promise to the enforceable reality, and hence we are here. Guys, human dignity is not merely the philosophical abstraction, but it is something more than that guaranteed under Article 21 of the Constitution. Because right to life has been evolved within the years from the physical survival to include the autonomy, human conditions, and even access to the healthcare. And when the healthcare system fails within that, then the erosion is not the administrative, but it is the constitutional. So here is background for my PPT. As Article 21 expanded from the procedural protection to the substantial right, means not only in the process but the actual right is there, because dignity is recognized as a normative core for the constitutional interpretation. What do you mean by the normative core then? Normative core is basically the fundamental value giving meaning to any right guaranteed under the Constitution. So, health acknowledged as essential for the meaningful existence within the life. As court has increasingly addressing the medical ethics and the issues in many landmark cases, we are now here with the right to health as well in the paper. So basically the objective for my study is to examine the evolution of the dignity under Article 21. Further, to analyze the jurisprudential recognition and to analyze the judicial recognition of the health as a part of dignified life. Further, to evaluate the role of the ethical principles, which is the healthcare adjudication. To identify the doctrinal inconsistencies and the structural gaps within the judicial interpretation and the actual implementation of those rights. And to propose an integrated dignity-based healthcare framework which is not still in the existence. Here are the research questions. How has the dignity has evolved within the Article 21 under the jurisprudence aspect as well? Because when our constitution was formed, it was not involving even the right to dignity and even the right to health. But within the landmark cases like A.K. Gopal and Maneka, and there some more socio-economic right-based cases has been interpreted right to health as well. So next is how is health recognized as a derivative for the dignified life? Further, how the role do the ethical principles play in the judicial reasoning? And last is how does the dignity lack the doctrinal clarity in the healthcare cases, and how the reforms are required to operative dignity. I have been adopted the doctrinal research method, and in which I have studied some constitutional provisions which are the best for this research like Article 14, 15, 19 and the 21, and also I have studied some landmark cases of the Supreme Court. So what is the research gap in the paper is that despite there are various progressive judicial pronouncements, still there is no coherent ethical constitutional framework which is systematically formed for the right to health and for its proper implementation as well. For that, we have to study the human dignity and right to health in the three aspects. First is human dignity as the constitutional value, because dignity is recognized as a normative core under Article 21. So, it encompasses the autonomy, bodily integrity, equality and the existence. What is the autonomy here? It is the right of the individual to make and inform the decision about their own body, their health care and their own life. So, it must be functions within the both core. Firstly, the interpretative principle, and secondly, the substantive constitutional guarantee which is guaranteed under the Constitution. So judicial evolution to the progressive interpretation has been studied in the paper. Second aspect can be health as a derivative fundamental right. So health is the essential form of the meaningful exercise of the freedoms, as we have guaranteed right to freedom under Article 19. But for exercising that freedom, we must have the meaningful life and the proper health. So, however, the minimum content of the right to health remains undefined. The third aspect is health as a normative mediator. This is a very important concept because health, medical ethics breaches the constitutional ideals and the clinical practice. It can be enforced in the four guidelines principles. Firstly, autonomy, which I have already explained. Second is beneficence, means acting in a best interest for that particular patient. Next can be non-manifestation, means be avoiding harm to the patient. And last means the justice. Justice in the context of the health without the discrimination. These are the problems and the core finding of my research paper. Problems are very simple, that there is no fragmented application of the dignity in the medical cases. There is absence of explicit right to the health legislation. There is no structural healthcare inequalities are there, and over-reliance on the judicial inter-overlook is there. So my findings are dignity is a normative core of Article 21. Health is indispensable for the meaningful life, and the ethical reasoning must be there which influences the judicial outcomes. Here are some solutions to enact the right to health legislation. Then to institute the Healthcare Ethics Committee, which will review the complex treatment decisions, and to strengthen the public healthcare infrastructure, because the best time to repair the roof is before the storm. So I will conclude. That the Constitution promises of dignified life, which has evolved under Article 21, but however, dignity is health in the healthcare remains institutionally fragile, and we need to make one proper framework for defining and protecting the right to health under the Article 21. As Justice P.N. Bhagwati has said, the right to life is not merely the right to exist, but the right to life with dignity. Thank you, Manana.
I appreciate the valuable research contribution of all our presenters. The perspective shared today highlighted the importance of jurisprudential aspect of health and right to health. As we conclude this technical session, it is my honor to propose the vote of thanks. My sincere gratitude to our guest speaker, to Shashat Sir, and the Marathwada Legal and General Education Society, Manikchand Pahade Law College for their support, and along with Avishkar Research Club for organizing this session. Finally, my sincere thanks to all the presenters and participants. With gratitude, we conclude this technical session.
Good afternoon to all the respected dignitaries, esteemed resource persons, faculty members, and research scholars and participants. On behalf of MLNG Society's Manikchand Pahade Law College, I, Saitambe, extend you a warm welcome for these two days National Conference on Life, Law and Ethics, navigating the complexities of organ transplantation, palliative care, and right to dignified life. Now we proceed towards our second session, theme, Theorizing the Right to Health, Jurisprudential Exploration in Human Rights. To give us a hint about this theme, I would like to call upon Sri Kishan Moris.
So at the beginning, I'll welcome our resource person, Professor Dr. Sampadev ma'am, who is professor and academic head at the Christ University, deemed to the University Bangalore, for her presence here and for her guidance on the very important topic in this technical session on the topic theorizing the right to health, jurisprudential explorations in human rights. The topic is very important, which is selected by Sampadev ma'am for her presentation. And being it a jurisprudential one, I'll take this opportunity to take this to the Buddhist jurisprudence. According to Buddhist jurisprudence, the state has very significant role in making the life of any individual sorrow-free and all problem-free, that to make it joyful and happy. And considering the earlier discussion into the first session of today, taken by Dr. Vaidya, so I have just a small question for all of you, that when will become happy? When you get the money, or when you get the property, or when you get a power or chair or any authority, or a beautiful wife or a smart husband with money. This everything is meaningless if you have no health properly, right? So health is wealth, and many presenters also have addressed that issue as saying that UDHR or World Health Organization or Constitution of India, they provides for the right to health. And it is fact that without our health, we cannot enjoy our life with dignity, or there cannot be the meaning to life when you are losing your health, right? So on this point, Dr. Sampadev ma'am is going to talk on the issue of the health, particularly right to health, and she will be taking us in the philosophical aspect, I hope, with the many judgments which are given by the Supreme Court of India or different courts on the right to health, and I hope that she will give some solution for the problem that, as many presenters have also told, that there is no proper mechanism and there should not be discrimination into the exercising the right to health. So I hope that there will be some good solution which will be come forth with the presentation of Dr. Sampadev ma'am. As there is paucity of time, so I will stop here, and I will thank you all for giving this opportunity to me to open the topic. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for introducing the theme. It is now my privilege to introduce our esteemed resource person, Dr. Sampadev ma'am, Professor of Law and Program Coordinator of PhD at School of Law, Christ University. Ma'am began her professional journey in litigation under the mentorship of Justice Shirpurkar sir before transitioning into academia, where she has built an accomplished career in teaching, research, and legal education. A university rank holder in her Masters of Law, she has since contributed extensively to the field of jurisprudence, legal research methodology, and public law. Her research primarily engages with right jurisprudence, including privacy, gender justice, human rights, environmental rights, and disability rights. She has also led funded research product, contributed to National Capacity Building Initiative for Self-Help Women Group, and actively worked towards strengthening outcome-based legal education. We are deeply honored to have you with us today, ma'am. Please join me in welcoming our resource person, Dr. Shampa Devi, ma'am. I now request our Professor Sri Kishan Mori sir to kindly felicitate our resource person. Thank you so much, sir. It now gives me immense pleasure to invite Dr. Shampa Devi ma'am to deliver her valuable insights with us.
Hello. So, I'm audible, right? Okay. We've had very beautiful lecture in the morning. And a lot of learning and a lot of questions that we start with this presentation. I do not know whether we'll be able to give a solution, but at least if we discuss and deliberate on what are the problems with respect to having a right to health enacted within any within the legal framework. What is it that we need to cover, and trying to basically scope it up. That's what I have tried to do in this presentation of mine. Of course, we will have to look into the jurisprudence angle, because without that, the foundation of that law may not be very sound. So, as we discussed, first we will look Okay, so what do we mean when we say that we need to have a right to health? Right? Since morning we've been discussing a lot of things. We spoke about palliative care specifically, and we also have one of the other themes as organ transplantation. We may look at it from these two angles. Or we can even, a right would not be solely answering to these two issues. If we are to frame a right to health, there will be many other issues, but these two are very strong issues that bring to light most of what the scope of the right should contain. Now, as we saw in the morning, the first session, Sir explained what palliative care is. Nowhere did we talk about what is expected from the state. We spoke about what's expected from the people around. And when we speak of a law, we are majorly looking at what the state should be doing. So there is a gap over there. What's out there in the world and what a lawyer may do and what a state may do. Each of these, even what the family may do. What's essential for the family to do, and that can be claimed as a matter of right by the patient or as a duty towards the patient. Could we craft such a duty towards a patient? Right? I am slowly moving you from the real world to the legal world, wherein we have to bother about these kind of questions. Right? Move out from the emotions, move out from many other things, to set a clear path on what is needed under this particular right. So is it a policy aspiration that we have? Of course, yes. We need a commitment to welfare? Yes, we do need. We bother about the socio-economic aspect of it, right? And these are our concerns. Could we see right to health as a fundamental right? At the end, that's the line. What is a fundamental right? I'm putting the question to you. When we say something is a fundamental right, what do we mean by that? Yes? No, speak it out loud. Basic right? Okay, then. Okay, but most of our basic needs are not met under fundamental rights. Provided since birth? Yes. Legally enforceable. Okay, great. So, one answer that came was, it's fundamental in nature. But is it a fundamental right? Then food, clothing, shelter should be the first fundamental rights that we should have. We don't seem to have that. So, something that is very fundamental in nature may not be our fundamental rights. Why so? Why shouldn't we enact a right to food, clothing, shelter in the fundamental rights chapter? Okay, but it's a fundamental thing that we need. That's the requirement of a human being. So, apply it over here. By objective, what do you mean?
It comes under materialism, but when we say fundamental rights, they are more subjective.
Okay. So the object of the right is not a rest, a thing. That's what you are saying. Okay, great. Fine. You want to say something? You want to say something? No. Okay, fine. We also heard her, and she said that what she said was more of, it could be a human right, that which is available to me from birth. Okay, now, could we read right to health in this context? So we have to define a right to health. Correct? So in this definition of right to health, what should be included? If at all I am looking at a right to health. Okay, prior to moving into this, a right to health according to you would be what? I mean, WHO has given a definition that doesn't really help us in scoping our rights. I mean, I'm looking at it, shall I make a statute? And then I have to define that. In that process, where am I stuck? I'm stuck with the definition that the WHO has given, not quite helping me. So, could you just spell it out? If you have a right to health, what would you have? Good health. What does good health mean? Yes.
अभी सर ने बताया था कि very spiritually, socially भी हर एक चीज spiritual.
Okay. For the spiritual well-being of a person, what do you expect from the state? Yes. Somebody, can you give a mic to him? There.
Pollution.
Okay. Clean environment? Further. What else? Do we have a right to a clean and healthy environment? I don't seem to have that. If I would have it, then you wouldn't be using AC in your car. Yes.
A human life treatment.
A human life treatment means what? Dignity? Let's define dignity. Dignity means fallacy, that's of circular reasoning. Okay, and therefore, yeah, you were saying something? You were saying something? No. Okay, fine. So, see the trouble in explaining what a right to health actually means. Because somewhere down the line I know that my health will be bad if I live rashly. If I am not taking conscious care of my health. And the factors that define what is that is about nutrition. Right. It's about exercise. It's about a lot of activities in life. Those nurture health or go against health. So if I've been living rashly, then health then is in my hands. And sir also added a happiness element into it. And sir as well. So, we have a happy life because I am in good health. I am now segregating the two ideas. I am so thankful that sir brought it out. Because even in the morning sir said, being satisfied, being at peace with wherever you are in your life matters a lot with respect to health. Now we segregate the two. So happiness and health don't go together. I may be happy in spite of my terrible health. I know of a person, and even we all know this person, Stephen Hawkins, pretty much satisfied with his life even though in such constraints. Similarly, even I know of a person who is a doctor who's only up to the head, he understands that, that's it. Beyond that, fully paralyzed. But he still goes to the hospital, in the government medical college, so he still goes to the hospital, he tells this is the medicine and somebody writes it out on behalf of him. And this has been going on for years together. Yes, bad health gives us a lot of distress. But we've seen people overcome that as well by sheer training of the mind. By that satisfaction is what? The mind, the spiritual being, right? That I agree to whatever circumstances I am in, how the problem resolves from there. Life gives us troubles, all of us. But then how much we accept it and move ahead and work on to the betterment in whichever circumstances I am. So I will be sort of happy. But that's not what is the content of a right to health in a legal frame. If I am to define it, I cannot define it as spiritual well-being as such, because that's not what the law can handle. We know we want to. That's for philosophy, religion, and all that. That's their job to take care of us in this matter. We can just leave it to that. Or if we are more prudent, we will say no religion, no God, right? Directly it is me. If I take care of, so you need a lot of strength over there. God and the religion system is there, because when my mind fails me, I know, okay, God is there, God will help. But for the atheist, it will be like, I have to rely on myself. You can imagine how strong these persons would be. Right? When everything fails us, God helps us. But for them, they will have to help themselves. So they are hugely strong people amongst us in this society. Right? Moving back. We are looking at, if at all a right to health, what should be the content of it? Are we looking at treatment? Now when I go to the hospital, I should get adequate treatment. But that involves a lot of money. Should the state pay for my treatment? Then I may be living rashly and the state will take care. And of all the population that pays their taxes, we have approximately only around 3% of the population paying taxes, the salaried ones. With that, we support 97% of the population. Even if the numbers are a little wrong here and there, I mean this data I had read some years back, even if you increase the number, 10% of the population pays taxes, supporting 90% of the population isn't that easy. We keep telling state has to do, where will the money come from? That we do not provide. That answer we don't have. We just say, state, you have to take the responsibility. How many are covered with insurance? No. Yes, I understand that. I'm looking at, villages. In my college, the commerce department has taken up this lead role to insure villages, 100% people in the villages. There are government schemes, but everybody is not enrolled in it. I mean, Christ University has got prizes for that, for getting full, the village insured. With everybody recorded with the government, right? So those schemes are there. If you see, it's not that the government does not support anything at all. It does. And why is it so is what we are going to look at today. Because that's what will determine what our answer is to this question of whether we can guarantee a right to health to our people as a fundamental right, or even as a statutory right if we have to do, what things should be taken care of. By treatment, we also talk about access to health care. I should get treatment. There are no hospitals around. That should not happen. So public health centers at grassroots levels, medical colleges, so on and so forth. So the government has all of these in place. And the Supreme Court has given out saying that nobody can be denied access to health care. If even in dire circumstances somebody has come, has no money, you cannot throw him out, you have to treat him. Because in that case it so happened that the hospital refused, and by the time he went to another hospital, the person died on the way. Then the court said, we can't be doing it. You have to give that basic treatment first. That is an essential minimum component of the right. One answer we got. One minimum component of the right. Who takes the duty? Who takes the duty? Court said it. Private colleges or hospitals, whatever, private hospitals and government hospitals. Government hospitals anyways cannot throw people out, right? Private hospitals are now bound to treat a person who's come in that and then give basic care. It's not a completely treat. Give that basic care so that that person can be moved to another place. That is the minimum component. Write it out, right? That if we have to define, we have to say that this is what we want. Further, infrastructure. Infrastructure of course required. But what is that basic infrastructure? We should have such and such. You know how costly things are. Everything, right? Hospitals are the only ones who can buy all of those machines on loan, and then through the patient fees, you sort of keep paying the loan amount back, and then the hospital has all of those, right? So it's very difficult. So should the state help in subsidizing of buying of these huge machines that are needed for every hospital? Then we may say we have not yet come to that stage to be able to say that the state should provide such in all hospitals. But at least in a few government hospitals, so it has started. You will see that AIMS has it, certain major cities you will find those things basic gets provided. You have to ask in those schemes, apply, and then you get the funding for that. Okay. Dignity, we've not been able to define dignity. When you say Aruna Shangar, is that living? I mean, how do you define what is a dignified life? Somebody doesn't get food to eat. That's how we will define. What's that basic minimum? Could you try defining it? What would be dignified life? Where? Mere animal presence. Okay. Beyond that, how do you define what's animal existence and what's, if I use a contra term human as against animal. What's the line?
Autonomy over my body.
Okay, I have an autonomous decision over my own body and a say in how I want to be treated. Okay, in the matters that are problems with respect to health, in that context to define. Okay, I use a critical thinking tool, right? What is undignified, can you tell? What kind of a situation you will say, this is not a dignified life?
The dream of living something and the reality, the justice system, too much. What they want to live and what they are living right now.
That's subjective to me. You define first. The definition that should not be based on I decide. For everyone it will be true. That's what we have to find out. That's what we are searching at. Okay, what is a condition which is not dignified? And that should not happen. Then, living in a vegetative state, yes? Suffering for years and years, then? Yes.
Nurses were taking the patient, this can be seen as an undignified.
Okay, yes? Okay, so at the heart of it is respect, autonomy. If in a vegetative state there is no autonomy, and if the person does not have autonomy, let him die. Otherwise it will be not a dignified way of living. Now let him die is very difficult for a person to say. Look at it legally. Right? Even in a family, one person, say the son, does not want that parents should be in that kind of condition. It hurts them. Okay? So, may go on to say, no, not like this. But if you pull the cord, then that's even more sadness. So, at least you know, oh, your parents are still alive. So somehow human beings are not able to define what exactly would be dignified and what will go as not so dignified, right? That's another. And then as he said, equity. So basically, at the heart, the question of it is health a private thing or is it a public responsibility? The question there, is health a private condition or a public responsibility? So I was looking at for this definition of health, this is one article which has huge number of citations. Okay, so I'm taking from there. And then we already have this health definition given by the WHO, that the complete physical, mental and social well-being. But if you have to bring it down into the law book and say this is the thing that right to health includes, then it's a little difficult. Complete, abstract, physical, abstract, mental, social, all of it. So this article tries to define what is that will we maybe fit into that health criteria. That can we move to the next? Yeah. So the normative foundations of a right to health. Now we have Aquinas, we have Finis, and not just them, we have many more of these theorists who've spoken about what is the common good. In that Aquinas talks about a right to health. We spoke about Finis, and Finis also brings that up. I will bring your attention, I have it written because it came up as a question in the morning, that Immanuel Kant has also spoken about reasonableness, dignity, autonomy and so on and so forth. And this question about whether a person should be told or not told that a person is suffering from such and such, an ailment. The family sort of makes a decision on behalf of that person that she will not be able to take this news. What have we done? Nothing against whatever you do. We choose to do what we want to do in our circumstances we are stuck. Right? So we do. Nothing on that, but I am just bringing to you, you would be interested in reading what Kant says on that. Kant says, if you take the decision that the mother will not be able to handle the news that the child this has happened to the child, or that this person herself has got a certain major disease which is terminal kind, okay, you are taking away the autonomy of that person. You are deciding on behalf of that person. That's meaning that, you don't think that that person can handle that. So you are degrading that autonomous decision that that person has, you are sort of snatching it away. Okay, that is not agreeable to work. I mean, Kant would disagree with that. And maybe you could read more on that, right? Many a times we do that. In our society, we feel always that, she won't be able to handle. It always happens with the mothers because they are very emotional beings, right? Husbands, men are also that way, but they won't express it in the manner that the women do. Women are more open to their, display of emotions. So they would be crying and so on and so on, and you think, oh, this person cannot handle it, right? That's also once again how society grows us up. Men are told you can't be sitting and crying, take stock of it, and so they have no room to be unhappy over anything, right? But then women, they have no such job, so they are very open about their emotions in that manner, right? So they'll be saying, oh, this person is not able to handle it. But that's a way of handling. Somebody cry it out, somebody do something, but eventually they will know that this is happening, and you would have the happiness that I've told and now she's out of it, right? And then we don't know how a person will die. Now these are various articles and various authors who've written about the normative content and the moral foundations of the right to health. Okay, so one is justice as fair equality of opportunity. Whether health protects, when we talk about health protects necessary functioning, the fair equality of opportunity. If you get to go to the hospital, I should also get to go to the hospital. Nobody should stop me from that. Okay, so it's a matter of justice in such case. Everybody has the same right to health. It's not that the rich have more and the poor have lesser. Okay. In the dignity of and state obligations, this person is a UN special rapporteur who has written about health grounded in inherent human dignity. But I bring your attention to this dignity. This is, we have failed to define it. Obviously, the reason why we don't have a right to health, right? Respect, protect, fulfill, all of these must come in together. So in that case, there has to be an accountability. Okay, now what is that accountability talking about? Fine. Now we did see the COVID times, and at that point of time I was researching, and I found that the number of vaccinations that India has done for its people is equal to or almost at par with the number of vaccinations US has been able to do for its people. But with that, US has reached almost 90% of the population it has vaccinated, and India 10% of the population were vaccinated at that point of time of data collection. Numbers were the same, but because our numbers are huge, the state pushing things in does not reach out to the whole of India in the same percentage. So we have to give some room for that in the right to health. The disadvantage and structural inequalities that are there in place, that health dimension, the deprivations, somebody does not have nutrition, how do we take care of those aspects? The disadvantages that come, rights-based accountability, that is the very recent one, health rights as a tool of social transformation. So if you look at this, we are looking at dignity, we are looking at justice element, we are looking at health equity in that right to health. We spoke about Aquinas, we spoke about Finis, we spoke about Kant. The dignity jurisprudence, that is the health is one precondition of human flourishing, right? Translating natural law to enforce human rights. The difficulty, now let's look at some more theories that apply to right to health. Autonomy and bodily integrity. Okay, whenever whenever a hospital does some procedure on me, whether that consent form. So only if I agree, then they will go ahead with the procedure. Freedom from degrading treatment. What we saw in the video in the morning, that somebody is treating another very bad because he's suffering and it's a burden to take care. And then in that non-discrimination. These are the basic things that liberal rights theory will advocate. Then there is the social justice theory that would advocate that it is a welfare state, so therefore the state has to take care. The Obamacare, right? So at one point of time, and now Trump doesn't want it. He says that, oh, why do we need to invest so much over there? Correct. So that is a decision that a state has to make. How much we can spend and what is non-negotiable. You must spend on these factors. You have to have public health centers. You have to have doctors in those places. There is compulsory vaccinations, right? Children, they all have to be vaccinated. These are things that are non-negotiable. Those things, putting those things in place. So see, even without telling that there is a right to health, the state has been taking care of right to health, the basic minimal requirements. Okay? Further, I go a little faster because I want the capability approach. Like see, there might be all these facilities that are there, but I don't have the capacity to go and utilize all of that. Fine? Right? The legal system is there, but I don't have the daring to go and file a matter. Did you ever think on these lines? Okay, people will fight and they will come and they come to the court. It does not happen. In most of the cases, people will think, oh my God, court is a big thing to do. Oh, I have to fight with that person. Oh, I have to go and collect evidence. Oh, this is a big trouble. I would rather not go. I'll go through this, whatever I am going through. And it continues. That the state has provided, but that capacity to go and move, the functioning is not there. Okay, capabilities and function. NUSCOM has improved on that. So the basic threshold that I have to develop in my people, that capacity that you go move the court. Similarly, go to the hospital, you will demand this and then this. Most people, particularly women, they'll be like, okay, this is normal for everyone, okay, I'm going through the same things, and will not. So how do you convert that into the people action? See, provisioning of healthcare does not make people get healthcare. Is that, the point here. So from theory to a law, how do we jump that? Okay, we spoke pretty much in abstraction. We also have Article 25, which talks about right to health. Article 12 is there, and then progressive realization. So I here will add something today. Okay, this is also a lesson from jurisprudence. That is, if you have heard, please let me know. The first generation rights, second generation rights, third, the generations of rights. Have you heard of it? Yes. Okay. Where will you place a right to health? Okay. What is a first generation right? You said yes, you heard. Now you give me the answer. Yes. What is a first generation right? Civil and political rights. Okay, well, our civil and political rights different from economic, social, cultural rights. What marks them different? How do you place something in CPR and something in ESCR? Right?
Civil and political rights are always related with political.
Okay, I'll take it up and explain because there's not much time.
It caters to citizens' requirement where we can place right to health properly over here, rather than placing the civil and political rights.
Okay, I'll tell you what it is. Okay, understand that. For the first time, people ask from the state is the first generation right. What was it? State, please do not interfere within our freedoms. stay apart. Look at Magna Carta and all of Declaration of Rights. First thing, these are my rights, please don't interfere in this. And they are in the nature of freedoms. How are rights different from freedoms? Freedoms are ours in the first place, even prior to the state coming in. We were free, we were doing certain things, it falls under the definition of freedom. And that's, if I am taking natural laws, rights zone it will come, right? So if I have taken birth, I grow, and the right to life supports it, your rights will agree to that. I can feel free to move around, feel free to speech, expression, all are Article 90 kind of rights, which are, state, please do not interfere in my domain. These are mine in the first place. Then, when we had sufficient amount of peace and order, then people started mingling with each other, and then common interests coming up. We will do things together, right? Then you need some laws in place to regulate those kind of activities, right? Those are the second generation rights, wherein the people said, state, your help is needed for, we want to do this. Economic, socio and cultural rights fall under that kind, wherein some requirement from the state must be satisfied so that we are able to realize that right. Now let's place right to health. Can you say, I have forever had a right to health and it's a freedom? You may say, I'm the freedom to be happy. Okay? So somebody should not come and keep telling, oh, you are useless, oh, you don't know this, oh, you don't know this. You're somehow getting restricted in your mind over there, right? That fails us on a lot of things, because what we are is what our mind is. If our mind is negative about me, then I've got no strength at all. Right? That's how it comes. So, to that extent you may ask, yeah, but a right to health would mean, if I'm saying access to healthcare, proper medicines, all of those machines that would require, that are possible to be had, those come with a price, right? So it then is a second generation right. If you look at our constitution, fundamental rights chapter has a lot of civil and political rights in it. The freedom kind of rights are there. In there, you simply announce this and explain the scope of the right, automatically it will get taken care of. You have to have a court system in place. The law is clear, the court system is in place, things will take care. But look at the economic, socio-cultural group of life or the directive principles of state policy. But please do not match it exactly as it is, because some of the ESCR kind of rights we have pushed into Article 21A, right to education. A second generation right has been put in as a fundamental right. You cannot push it into first generation. It's just that even if it is a second generation, I am promising I will take care of this. So the state can do that. Health is that kind of a right. By nature, it's the second generation kind of a right. Okay, and if the state has to say, okay, fine, I will agree to spend so much on that. Okay, and therefore the state tries its best to do that. But if it were to be written down as a fundamental right, which the Supreme Court did and said, we have a right to health, no, we don't really get that right to health until all of these things are in place. Fine. So we have all that the Supreme Court then does is gives a push to the state. Please do some more towards this health cause. Like say during COVID times, how much the state had to bother about how to, bring everything in control, because health is one of the state concerns. Public health is state's bother issue. Fine. So when things go out of hand, that's the state comes in and says, and even drastic steps, like you are not to move out of this place, that Arogya Setu app, right? There were two kinds. One that we had, wherein we were told not to move out, or if we come in touch, we were told, people said, privacy issue, data protection, but the state said, no, I go ahead with that. Even if it's violation, I want to, because public health is a major concern. Fine? Not giving the body of the patient back to the family members, disposing it off. State said, I understand emotional, people are sad about that, but can't do anything. That's how it goes. Okay, so there is a human rights framework. That judicial interpretation I have already covered. Okay, now let us look at it then as, that's sort of a solution that I am giving. If I am to define a right to health, I have to define a minimum content for that right, which we already had, not in the form of a law, but in the form of various schemes of the country, right? So if there is a minimum content of health which is already there, as I am telling, there are tons of welfare schemes of the state, and so we have it. If we have it, why are we fighting for it? And why are we not writing it down in a law book and saying that it should be there? For one, health and well-being is not definable. Dignity, we found it very difficult, not definable. I mean, we could think for 2 hours on just dignity and health content. It's going to be very difficult, and at the end we are not getting much space, much answer to that. So, what is that basic thing that should be there? Protection against severe avoidable suffering, and in this, that non-negotiable minimum. In this, there is one more discussion that you find in all the articles that are there on right to health. For example, morphine. If we say that a certain drug, which is known as drugs, those are the only things that will keep the pain aside, then let us give that. To that, there are norms in place. Stating that we should not have it would be a wrong thing on the part of the state, because that's the minimum requirement. Somebody is going through a lot of pain. So then in that case, what is the problem? The problem is that when morphine is available everywhere, we don't want everybody else to be addicted to that. So you need to have regulations strictly on prescription, only so much. These are the medicines, if you actually go in, India has all of that in place. It says that even to the extent that beyond 10 tablets they don't give. Sleeping pills, beyond 10 tablets they will not give. I mean, if you are going lawfully, you will not get it. Right? It is on prescription and only so much. Once again, approval of doctor, once again they will give. They will give, but you will need processes in place which the state has put. Okay? Or that rude treatment by hospital people should not happen. That's one thing. Right? So, those basic minimums could be our first level right to health component. But why doesn't the state write it down in a law book? Because state never or legislator never comes up with a law that is vague. In our talking it will be vague. Even Supreme Court judgments have found that jurisprudentially incorrect it would be. But then it is getting us to think on all of this, right? So that's the basic, the minimum requirement. Even in case of, say, genetic engineering has come about. CRISPR-Cas9 technology by which now you can design your own children. You can have blue eyes, fair skin, green hair, anything that you want. You can design your own tailor-made babies will be available. Right? That's one area we need to look into. And then we have to find out, if the baby does not like once after it is born, if it does not like, can it sue the parents? Why did you make green hair and blue eyes and those kind of things? Enhancements is running into trouble now. Those are the researchable areas, right? Primarily, CRISPR-Cas9 technology had come in to say that some ailment, it's genetically in me. I'm going to get diabetes, I'm going to get cancer. So you just first edit the genes and then get the designed baby. It means you are removing the health ailment from them. So 2 HIV parents got 2 healthy babies. That happened in China. Okay, the baby did not carry that HIV. So the thing is, that's the reason why it has come. But what do people use it for? I need a sprinter baby. No, baby will be baby. Later he will be a sprinter. Olympic gold medalist. Advertisement in the newspaper. I need Jamaican genes of 4 generations of runners in the family. Still understandable? There are deaf couples who, in US it happened, a lesbian couple, both deaf, they wanted a deaf child because they both are deaf. They said, I will connect best with a deaf child. So they advertised for for deaf genes were in the family of deaf people. So they said, I'm not interfering with the genes. I just hired a gene and it was deaf. So they got a deaf baby. Done. And then it's all of these discussions started. And these are very recent. In this right to health, what is it that you are going to allow? What is it that you are not going to allow? That scoping has to be done. And that scoping itself is a big research. And then later on, when we speak about organ transplantation, organs are very scarce. Somebody has met with an accident, the organ is there within 3 hours time, it has to be given to somebody. If you can manage that, somebody will live. Now, in this distribution, it should be fair. It should not be only the rich get it and the poor don't get it. It should not be that the hospital's friends, relatives, people get it and I am there in queue forever. That should not happen, right? So those are the next level right to health that we need to have a plan about. So one is the core minimum of what will constitute right to health. And second is where it is about distributive justice. That framework will require scarce resources. You have to think about that. A fair criteria has to be maintained, a transparency in the distribution process and equality in allocation. These are the second level things that we have to plan. So if we are planning a right to health, this is what we have to do. Okay? And in palliative care, what is the basic thing that we are looking at? Extreme pain, incompatible with human treatment, right? So that basis is the minimum basis. And in organ transplantation, as I told you just now, it should be fair criteria, right? Not an absolute entitlement. I have the money, I can pay for it, so I am entitled to it. Would be a very wrong argument to make, isn't it? So that planning has to go. So what we have to look at, what would be violations? Basic violations would be what? And ensure that that should not happen. The below dignity threshold. Life-threatening denial of care. Court has already said access to health care, you cannot throw out another person. For, say the patient, when he needs it, you have to support. Systemic denial of essentials, basic drugs are not available in the government hospital. Could be a big issue in this case. Discrimination should not happen. That women do not get to go to the hospital, but men get to go to the hospital. That should not happen, right? If we look at policy disagreements would come about in case of allocation principles. How do you allocate, say there is an organ available, how do you allocate? The first person who comes will get it first. Would that be the right thing to do? Or should you say medical priority? Should you say, this person needs it more, then I give it to that person? Or should it be based on age? He's anyways 80-year-old, why should we give him? Let us give it to the 40-year-old, right? But should we do a lottery and then distribute? How? I got so many. And if you want to read this, read Michael Sandel explaining all of that. Okay? So, how are we allocating? We have to allocate. At one point of time, we have to think, how are we going to make those decisions is for us to decide, by our legislators to decide. Reasonable ethical pluralism, fair approaches. Okay? Now see, during COVID times, a lot of section of the population said, I'm not going to take all those vaccinations that the state is giving. My religion does not allow me to do this. If it conflicts with our belief systems, our religion systems, what do we do? That clarity we need. That has to be laid out. We are in such a pluralistic society. You force people into and say, you have to be taken care like this, COVID, no, this we have to do to you. You cannot force people to that extent, but at the same point of time, you cannot let health go out of hand. Public health, healthcare is the state's botheration, right? Courts differ to the policy choices if it should be primarily fair and transparent. So now what happens is, in each of these, like see today, we have these two main areas, palliative care, organ transplantation. In these two areas, we will define, but it may not generalize to all other areas. But a law needs to be pretty general, so that it applies to each one of them, right? So we have to be able to get to that level, to be able to say, okay, this is the right level. So we need to re-theorize. One, it's not absolute. It cannot be a fundamental right. Because our concept of fundamental right means, as ma'am just now put it, available on demand, enforceable, right? If that would go inconsistent. It should be a hollow aspiration, a structured, moral, legal architecture has to be formed. What is below dignity? Identify, define, and then say this is the minimal that you have to give, and what justice frameworks would you need? I myself brought you some problematic things over there. Right. So a balanced approach is necessary. What is essential care, non-discrimination, all of this we have already spoken. And so I conclude with that one question. Is the right to health a claim against scarcity, or is it a demand to distribute scarcity justly? Thank you so much. But I will need to take any questions. Do we have any questions? Oh, maybe you are on because I went on for a long time.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for an insightful session. We now have a lunch break for the participants. The further paper presentation will take after the lunch break. So I request the participants to proceed for lunch.
Well, only for 3-4 minutes. As a part of the convention of the any technical sessions and seminars, every session is required to be concluded with the concluding remarks about the papers which are presented in the technical session. Can you please wait for a while of the audience? So in this technical session, actually formally first and practically second on the right to health particularly. There were 3 papers presented by the researchers, Dr. Nalini Ambat, who had the topic on digital healthcare, technology and right to health, critical study on law and policies. She have taken the reference of UDHR, WHO and Constitution of India, and she had also tried to define the health with the help of her data she had collected. Very good paper we have seen into this session. Then Advocate Sonia Chilarge had presented her paper on access to health care, define the social scale, and she had focused her thought on awareness about the right of the women, particularly on the menstruation, and she had related that with the social justice, and finally she had shown concern about the access to menstrual health, and her paper was also to be taken on the record. Very good suggestions she had provided. Lastly, Ms. Sakshi Bagul had presented a paper on human rights, healthcare and ethics, a jurisprudential inquiry into the right to dignified life. One more good paper presented by Ms. Sakshi, and she had shown concern through her research on poor women, particularly service or fundamental right. She had raised the question, and she have pointed out the lacuna under the Constitution, that Constitution was not have right to dignity, and it was developed by the judiciary, but I have some other opinion on this. Constitutional provision is there under 21 itself since beginning. Only thing is that Supreme Court have find out the right to dignity into that. She had told about no constitutional framework for addressing the health care. See, Constitution is not there for providing everything in your life. Constitution means for establishing the principal organ of the government and provide the principles of their governance. That is only the purpose of Constitution. Constitution cannot include each and everything from our life. So we cannot have such kind of the expectation from any Constitution. And but she had very nicely concluded her paper and provided some solutions in respect of the justice of health without discrimination. And the resource person have presented very good thought on the topics he had selected about the right to health. She had tried to define the health according to her applying her own skill on the research, taken us to the philosophical aspect referring to different jurists and related that thought with the genes. So one cannot imagine the law people that we have the very much concern of the justice to health to the genes, and man have taken us to define the not only health but access to justice to health without discriminating women and men. She had pointed out one lacuna in our practical life, that if there is any issue in respect of health, we take men first to the hospital, then there is second priority to the women. That is really appreciated thought of man. Madam had concluded very nicely and given her own panel conclusion, saying that health cannot be fundamental right. However, I have some different opinion on this now, because if this right to health is not covered under the fundamental right, then there will be no proper justice administered to those people who actually require the health. And it is obligation on the state, and already states have taken a lot of initiative to provide the monetary benefit like different schemes into the hospitals to the people who are below poverty line. The state is providing the money for the operation to some diseases which are prescribed by the government. So I think that it is already made as a part of the fundamental right. However, we should respect the thought of the resource person. And finally, I am here for thanking you all, because I don't want to take your right to life and particularly right to food into this break. So thank you. And again, take this opportunity and I beg pardon that I have made this update because of the discipline of this technical session, that the papers which are required to be presented into the second session theoretically, but practically into first, they will be taken after the break, because lunch is also important. And one thing which is open secret in the organization of this national conference, though this we are talking on the right to health here, but we know that the organizers, particularly coordinator, principal ma'am and co-coordinator Jadhav sir, they are taking effort entirely without considering their right to health for the success of this conference. They are taking tablets. Jadhav sir have taken so many tablets for recovering himself from the fever. Ma'am who is also suffering from fever from many previous days. But we congratulate both of them for the success of this conference. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Participants, please gather here by 2:50. Please take your lunch coupons with you.